Welcome to the third season of the Ontario Time Attack e-racing series, Overtake the Apex, using a subtle Corsa and the PC. With the COVID-19 pandemic on hand and all of us staying indoors and away from other people to help plank the curve, what better way to stay driving than a virtual race series? This week, we are at Fuji Speedway with the GT4 Supra. It's going to be a very, very exciting race this week. I am Jordan Bazugli. We also have Joshua Cronin in the booth with me, as well as Imani Makalod. Say hi, boys.
You?
Hello. How are we?
Not
Think
too
we're
bad
doing good?
yourself?
I'm doing well.
Yeah.
I'm very excited for tonight. This is going to be a good race. Some actual fast vehicles.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'm also pretty excited too. I'm not gonna lie, we're going from Road Atlanta, a track that I wasn't particularly fond of, now to Fuji, which is probably one of my favorite tracks of all time. And it's in GT4s, which is one of my favorite car classes. So I'm honestly really looking forward to today's race.
Absolutely. And Fuji, although personally is not my favorite track to drive, it is definitely
Oh.
a fun track to watch races. So this is going to be a good one. Shall we join the drivers and see what they're doing? I guess we got just about 14 minutes and 30 seconds left in qualifying.
Yeah.
So it looks like right now Michael Gaglione is actually on pole by about zero point 0.2 seconds. So this is going to be very interesting to see unfold as the drivers set down their fast laps.
Yeah, and part of the key of getting such a good lap here at Fuji, honestly, even especially for qualifying, is going to be the draft on the front straight. Fuji is pretty much about 80% front straight. Not literally, but it feels like it. So the draft is really going to help and actually really going to matter a lot in qualifying. You'll lose out in the corners, but you might honestly make it back up on the straight.
Absolutely. One of the longest straights too, in Japan, if not the longest.
Yeah, you're probably gonna notice it the most if you actually commit and make a pass as well. Like for the race as well. Yeah, for the race, if you can fend someone off as well, it could be a very good defensive strategy later.
Absolutely. And that rush into T1 on lap one is going to be very, very interesting to watch. And even I guess as the race unfolds, right, with that draft, it's you have to haul the car down quite a bit into turn one. It's a very cute corner, so should see some superhero grade passes going into turn one.
Yeah, or a lot of carnage, one of the two.
Yeah, one or the other. I mean, probably a little bit of both.
Yep. Let's
But
let's hope we keep it clean in turn one, boys.
absolutely, let's hope for it. Yeah, and Fuji has one of the longest straights in motorsport tracks in the world, actually, 1.475 kilometers, so almost a full mile long.
Great. A little fun fact too. Fuji has the longest straightaway ever featured on a modern Formula One circuit. It's true. All other straights are mandated to be, I believe it's 1.3 kilometers for regulations. They let Fuji be an exemption, and then promptly realized, now hang on, we're gonna go back to that. And that's part of the fun of Fuji. Sector 2, Sector 1 and Sector 2 are generally pretty well liked, as we have a car spin off on the front straight. Sector 3 is really polarizing. Some drivers hate it, some drivers like it. I'm a big fan, some people hate it. But there's really no drivers that dislike the front straight. It's really is kind of the most iconic part about Fuji, and it's usually pretty fun to get in some of those draft battles.
For sure, and I mean, speaking of iconic, we're in an iconic car this week, Supra GT4. Obviously, this new Supra is BMW, excuse me, but
All right.
you know, it's a very iconic nameplate for Toyota, and you know, I mean, at least they brought it back, right? So it's very exciting actually to have this car running in the GT4 class now. It's a very, like you said, a very competitive class, and it's nice to see Toyota have an entry in there once again.
Great way
100%.
to
Yeah.
revive the brand too.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I was gonna say it's a great way to revive the brand on how much we're seeing in terms of Toyota complying more with the fuel economy and daily driver side of things. So it's really good that they're putting out these kinds of cars.
Absolutely. I mean, Akio Toyota's obviously really passionate about racing. We see that in their Le Mans efforts, and obviously in the cars that they've brought to the mainstream, right? Whether it be the 86 with Subaru and the BRZ, um, or the Supra right now with BMW, and even some of their more mainstream models. You know, with some of the TRD packages on the Camry, Avalon, etc. Things like that. You know, they're obviously putting in an effort to kind of capture the hearts and minds of the enthusiasts, and you know, the enthusiasts seem to really appreciate it.
Even on the luxury side of things too, like if you even look at Lexus, there's lots of cool cars that they've been putting out recently.
Oh yeah,
too.
I mean that 5-liter V8 is just an absolute sweetheart of a motor.
Yeah,
And I'm
it's
so
a
glad that they're
ride.
sticking with it, especially as so many of the, I guess, the German competition, they've all moved towards, you know, smaller turbocharged motors that just don't have the, I mean, the sound. The sound alone is just bananas.
Yeah, and the grunt as well, like just being able to have all that power on tap, just ready to go.
Yeah, you can't beat the response of a nicely tuned naturally aspirated motor. That is for sure. And I mean, when your car is such a looker like the LC 500, hey, oof, I'll take one of those in a heartbeat.
I mean,
Oh
to
yeah.
be fair, the newer Supra does actually look quite good, regardless of people who hate on it because they made a brand partnership. It is a nice car, and it's a really nice looking car. There's really not that many people I've met that are of a sane opinion that dislike the way it looks. There's a lot of people who are just kind of were hoping that they were just going to sell the Mark IV again, as if that would be remotely possible.
For sure. I mean, look,
But
in this kind of
it's
environment
nice.
where sports cars aren't as big of a seller as they once were, you know, it's kind of what you have to do, right? You forge partnerships with other manufacturers, you share those development costs, and you know, that's how you're able to get these lower volume but highly desirable vehicles out into the world.
100%. And I mean, a lot of the flack, by no means am I being paid off by Toyota to defend the Supra, but a lot of the flack they got from working with BMW, I mean, yeah, 100%. It wasn't really a Supra. It's using BMW's chassis. But people often forget that they worked with, I believe it was Yamaha to build the 2JZ. So
Hmm.
it's not like partnerships are unheard of. It's just people probably just didn't like this partnership. Regardless, the GT4 version's a pretty sick looking car, and it's been pretty competitive, well, relatively competitive. It hasn't seen too much GT4 racing in the real world. It's really only made a debut or two in IMSA, but it's usually placed all right when it wasn't being driven off the road. Um, and that's the part of the fun of the GT4 class is it's road relevant enough that it will still somewhat feel like a road car. They have to use the road gearbox, believe they can slightly modify the drivetrain, but a lot of the cars are really stock. And even if you look at the interior, it looks pretty similar to something that you could possibly see as like a track-oriented Supra. Really, the only extravagant part about it is the motor's a little bit fancier and it's on slicks.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, that's the appeal of the GT4 class as well, right? Because these cars are so similar to factory, you know, barring, you know, minor modifications, safety things like, you know, seats, a cage, etc. It does make them cheaper to race, lower cost to actually, you know, prep. And because the motors and the whole drivetrains are so similar to, you know, a vehicle right off a showroom floor, you know, your maintenance is fairly minimal, right? You know, you're just giving it some motorsports grade oil, and that's about it.
Yeah,
And
I mean, pretty much. It's that cheaper, quote unquote, in air quotes.
for
There,
sure. I
it's a
mean, hey,
relative term, but
racing's not
cheap
cheap, but
enough. Yeah,
definitely
yeah.
cheaper
Racing's
than.
expensive, but it's definitely cheaper than trying to buy like GT3s are hundreds of thousands of dollars, whereas this
Yes.
might be 100 to 150. It depends on the make. Obviously, if you get stuff like a McLaren 650, that's going to cost a lot more than buying the Mustang GT4. But that kind of synergy between the brands allows for a lot of competition, and then you can still just kind of pick the brand you like and run with them.
Absolutely, and they're
Definitely
all
like a
fairly
level playing
competitive.
field.
100%. Yeah, with the balancing they have, the only real thing that's a bit wacky is I know the Camaro GT4. Normally the Camaro comes with a supercharger. They had to pull the supercharger off for racing use because it wasn't easy. They couldn't basically verify that the amount of boost the supercharger was running.
Mm.
But other than that, all the cars is pretty much like it's a factory power plant, factory gearbox, which some of the drivers were complaining about the factory gearbox because there's no clutch. So standing starts are going to have to be a neutral drop,
Ooh,
with a graciously slipping differential, which will be fun because we'll basically just watch them one wheel peel.
sounds nice and abusive.
100%.
I think they'll two wheel peel. Is it for this car? Is it actually have an open diff, or is it like just some
I
like
think
you've
it's
seen race?
basically an open diff.
Okay, all right.
The real car does have some form of a traction control system. This car also does have a traction control system, but you will lose a lot of time with the traction control, especially with a more open diff that makes it easier to drive. Because that's the thing with GT4 cars, is they're also supposed to be relatively easy to drive. It's meant for more of a customer-based market. So you know,
lots
you
of
don't really
gentleman
want a car
drivers.
that snaps or oversteers. So, I mean, with the traction control, you will probably lose a lot of time. I would probably guess that a lot of the drivers have turned it down at least. Just because you will probably lose a lot of time, and you can just tune out any sort of wheel spin with your foot.
Oh, for sure. And I did drive the GT4 briefly before this broadcast, just to get a sense and a feel for how the thing drives. Yeah, the traction control only has two settings: 1, 2, or off. And the traction
Oh,
control is
nice.
fairly intrusive if you're trying to go
Yeah.
fast. I mean, you might want to have it on for the low speed corners just to give you that little bit of help on corner exit. But otherwise, it can be fairly intrusive and fairly annoying. It's kind of a hard cut for power. It's basically like an on-off switch. So it's kind of almost
Yeah.
better to run it off and just kind of modulate with your right foot. I mean, if you do get it wrong in the Supra, it is very easy to maintain a slide or maintain slip angle and oversteer and correct that and keep going. It's not one of those cars, especially with the GT3 class, where you turn off traction control and hey, maybe you lose it a little bit going into a corner and then you die. It's not like that. It's very easy to correct any oversteer incidents or any aggressions, let's say, towards the throttle.
Yeah. We just under 4.5 minutes left in qualifying. Do we want to run a quick ad break so we can come back to the end of qualifying?
Let's do that.
Or
We will do that. Let's get a word from our sponsors, and we will see you guys in a moment. Big thanks to Philip at DriverMod.ca, who has been so instrumental in putting these OTA esports series on. You can check out his website, DriverMod.ca, where he has all of his musings and writings all about going fast for time attack and otherwise. So make sure you check it out, DriverMod.ca. If you want to support the folks that put on the series, make sure you go to OntarioTimeAttack.ca, click on the shop icon, and you'll see there is a brand new OTA e-racing t-shirt. It's awesome blue shirt. We got our little steering wheel on there, cars zooming by, and all the folks that support our series. So make sure you check it out, OntarioTimeAttack.ca, and make sure to click on shop. Thanks. And we're back. So let's get a little grid rundown as we got 2 minutes left in qualifying.
real quick, let's go. Michael Gaglione going to be on pole. Val just 3/10 behind with a 147.7. Our pole time a 147.4. Pretty fast lap around here. Nathan Hodgkins currently being set in third. Crossing the line now. Let's see if he improves. Nope. Would have been cool if he did, though. We got Thomas sitting in fourth. We got Philip running fifth. Jackson's going to be running sixth. I'll give you a full grid rundown once it actually gets set. But that's where we're standing right now. Just under 2 minutes left in qualifying, so pretty much final laps are going to have to start happening now.
Absolutely.
Big part of the qualifying here is going to be seeing if you can get the draft down the front straight, because you have to be just close enough where you can maybe get the draft and shoot past him on the front straight, and then you'll have that clean air for the remainder of the lap. Because you'll gain like easily a second just from running in the draft on the straight.
Oh, for sure. And like you said, it's that balance, right? I mean, if you are running behind somebody, you get a good draft, but hey, maybe there's you end up behind them still into turn one, then oh man, it's having to follow a car into turn one, a lot of dirty air onto the brakes. It's tough, and you'll lose some valuable time when you're trying to set your fast lap.
100%. I just reminded now, I believe it's turn 10, which is the double hairpin section. There is an escape chicane for drivers. If they miss the corner, it's just a simple made-up Jersey barriers that the drivers have been told to run. if they miss the corner. Not a big deal, just because running wide around there will gain you multiple seconds. So we've just asked the drivers nicely multiple times to adhere to the escape chicane, just to keep everything fair and in the order of sportsmanship. People forget every once in a while, but just so in case you guys watching at home see people suddenly slam on the brakes or, you know, bounce off a Jersey barrier that doesn't move in a Assetto course, that's why.
Yeah.
Nathan's pitting. I guess Nathan's given up on his attempt to set another lap.
Yeah,
A lot of
Leo
people are pitting.
running very wide into turn one here. I think that's going to be a common issue throughout this hour 45-minute race. I mean, I've done it many times, getting a little too deep on the brakes going into turn one, and yeah, it's not fun.
Yeah, it's incredibly deceptive. Like with turn one, because the front straight is just so long, it's really easy to mess up your braking point going into turn one. Just simply because you feel like you're going so fast, you don't you try and stop way too early, even though you don't necessarily have to.
Yeah, I've had those happen before because that area is really deceptive just because like there's like nothing around you, so you don't really have that that sense of height to be able to gauge how far ahead something is, right? Because you don't know what your minute of angle is.
So let's get a grid run now. Michael Gaglione gonna be on the pole for today's race. Val Pietro running second. Nathan Hodgins running third. Thomas Langill running fourth. Philip Oliveira running fifth. Colin Brown running sixth. Doug Newman running seventh. Joseph Yang running eighth. Edgar Lee running ninth. Laszlo Toth in 10th. Oostwall running 11th. Matt Alexander running 12th. Walter B running 13th. Randy Zimmer running in 14th. Anthony H running 15th. Leo Mura running 16th. Carlos Ferry running 17th. Stu Chen running 18th. Bruno Fantazzi running 19th. Dmitry Mochkin running 20th. Eric Del Riva, not a good qualifying day, running in 21st. The guy who won the first round of the season. And Joe Lee running up in 22nd at the back of the grid.
Yeah, it should be a very, very interesting race. We got another packed house. It's like we said, it's gonna be very fun to watch going into turn one, and you know, hopefully they can all keep it clean and not run into each other and, you know, ruin races. I mean, hey, it's an hour 45, so you just gotta kind of exercise a little bit of patience and know that, hey, if you're faster than the car in front, you'll catch them eventually. There's a lot of time to do so.
Yeah, this will definitely be an interesting one too, especially the run down to turn one. It's still pretty far, even from the standing start. I normally don't do a lot of standing starts at Fuji. We don't get the joy of the rolling start, but it'll certainly still be interesting. 10 seconds to go.
Waiting for the lights. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and
No.
that's it. We are racing. A gentle start by a lot of the drivers. Looks like Michael Gaglione getting away well. Val having a bit of trouble, but not too
Oh,
bad.
we are 4 wide for 6th. This is going to be weird. Oh, they're good.
Oh yeah, they're falling in line. Yeah. Two stacks.
Online, everybody's taking it pretty easy. Ooh, we got big pack behind Michael. Michael seems to have get a really clean start and kind of running away with it. Colin B now up into second place. Looks like Val had a bit of a rough go at it, and he's down into fourth.
Val going to try and go around the outside of Thomas and 200R. Probably not going to work. The outside never really works around that corner. Trying to defend from Edgar Lee for fourth. Edgar going to try and move. Not going to work. It is an hour 45 minutes. Not every move has to work on the first lap.
Eric's had quite the start. He's up into 13th already.
Yeah, wow. I know there was a bit of a scuffle at the back of the pack. I think Randy got a bit sideways. Might have got helped. But up to 13th. Eric on a really good drive. This is coming to turn 10, that corner we told you about.
Yeah.
Possibly one of the least fun hairpins in existence, but a necessary evil.
Ooh, Joseph Yang getting a bit of shape behind Val there. Everyone's kind of filtering on okay. Looks pretty good.
Whoa!
Ooh. Yeah, the pack is still very tight. Everyone taking a lot of different lines that we're seeing coming into certain corners, trying to get that advantage on corner exit, which, you know, Fuji is so fickle in terms of how you approach your corners and the kind of lines you're taking, and getting a quick exit is so key, even if it means compromising your corner entry just a little bit.
Especially for that third sector. Now we get the real fun front straight. This is going to be even more fun on the first lap.
Edgar and
because that
Joseph
the
side
draft,
by side.
the draft is just gonna come raking in. We see enough. Not too much. Not too good of a. The car doesn't give too much of a pull going into the first corner. Nathan sends it up the inside, gets past Ujwal for 9th. Some pretty good racing here on the first lap. Pretty clean too. I knew these cars were going to be fun. I didn't quite expect they were going to be this fun.
Yeah, it's very close. Ooh, getting little bumps there, little bumps and scrapes. Everyone's staying fairly close and fairly tight.
Now, what's really going to be key is that sweeper right there, 200R, is going to be really important as the tires start wearing out. Because as the tires wear out, you lose your grip. So your line through that corner is going to matter even more.
Absolutely.
That's where you'll
That
see a lot of the
exit-
better drivers who can really manage their tires. They'll be able to gain a lot of time through that corner.
For sure. I mean, the pack is still so tight, and you know, we'll see how it goes over the coming laps. They're literally bumper to bumper. It's like the 401. Ooh,
Oh, Philip gets
Phillips
sideways.
gets a little out of sorts there. Drops down to 10th now.
Oh, man,
Ujwal's able to slip past.
3 places in one corner. Doug Newman
Close
missing the corner a little bit.
carnage.
Nathan might be able to try something around to the outside. No, not gonna run it defensive. Oh!
Contact. Ooh.
Oh, Nathan goes around. Woohoo!
Yeah, they're getting real friendly, and Val seems to be chasing down Thomas here for 3rd place, trying to get himself back up on the podium positions. See if he can try and move into turn 1.
I'm gonna actually try and see how close they can gain on the draft here on this front straight, because it's probably massive.
Tucking in there, a lot of movement. Yeah, the midfield still very, very tight. Nathan squeezing back into 9th place past Laszlo there.
Yeah, draft isn't quite as strong as I thought it would be on the front straight, but we do still have some pretty good battles. Battle for 4th here. Val's
Let's
starting to
check
catch
in with
Thomas.
Val's taking a very tight line through that corner, able to carry a little bit more speed into 200R here.
I'm looking right now. Leo's already pit. I'm not sure what's going on there, but might be maybe just trying to get some runs in clean air.
I'm not
Maybe
sure.
not.
Maybe had an unlucky first lap and some damage. I'm not entirely sure why he'd be
No,
pitting.
I think it was a drive-through. It might have been a jump start penalty. That's unfortunate.
Yeah,
It's going to
very
cost them a lot of time. These cars didn't have clutches, so the drivers had to neutral drop it. But because of that, if you assume you have a clutch, the car will creep on the start and it'll give you that penalty. It's really
Absolutely.
unfortunate.
Edgar and Doug. Doug
Woohoo!
getting a little squirrely there, trying to get past Edgar on the inside. Doesn't make it stick, so he's got to filter in behind. Maybe he'll try again. Maybe we'll try again here through nets. Not quite.
Oh, look at this guy knowing his corner names.
Going through Panasonic. Not quite either. Philip right behind Doug as well. Everyone's fighting for 6th right now.
Someone did their research.
Hey, you got the track map in front of me, man. You gotta come prepared.
Oh, don't tell them that. They're gonna know. You gotta keep up the illusion.
Sorry, the trade secrets. My apologies.
That's true. You don't remember all of your corner names? Look at this guy. Doug Newman, see, there's that draft I told you about.
Yeah.
Gonna get past Edgar.
And he's going to be on the inside. That's going to be very favorable going into T1.
If you're the lead car in that situation, there is nothing you can do unless you want to do some like Indianapolis 500 level weaving, which isn't the nicest. He's getting by you. There's no decision in that matter.
Yeah, I'm sure the
If he
stewards would have
wants
something to say about that.
100%.
You're also going to be slower if you pull that off too, so you're kind of shooting yourself in the foot otherwise if you're trying to be
100%.
pulling that too.
That's the key. I mean, the general rule of thumb is you get one move, otherwise it's blocking, and you know, I kind of prefer to make that just before the braking zone. Otherwise, you don't really have an option.
Yeah, just that last minute Hail Mary is all you got.
Yeah,
Sometimes.
and even then, it's a balance, right? Because you know you do it too late, and you know a driver can end up into the back of you and just ruin your whole race, right? So it's you gotta, you try to make the move, but also you have to be somewhat deliberate, right? I mean, the guy behind you kind of has to know that you're moving in that direction. I mean, relatively before you start your braking.
Oh, Edgar going a bit
not only
wide.
that, if you end up doing that way too late as well, you're gonna throw your brake balance off and just end up locking up the back tires if you
Absolutely.
have a really aggressive setup.
Edgar and Philip are absolutely going at it right now. Sorry to
Phillips
step
staying
over you
real
guys.
tight on the inside, seeing
They're
Edgar going wide.
they're bumping each other a little bit. It's definitely getting heated, guys. We got over an hour and a half left. Don't do it too early.
Oh no, it's very very tight still, and hey, I mean drivers are getting very friendly with the outer limits of the track right now with the
Edgar has
the
nowhere
bumping.
to go. There is a supersized gap on that part. This is going to end in tears. This is not going to go well.
Oh,
Ooh. Philip elbows out.
Come on, keep it going, keep it going, keep it going. He's good.
My
He's good.
goodness.
He'll get him back. Edgar driving on the grass for about almost a mile.
Oh.
Probably felt like hours to him, but he's going to keep it going straight. He's going to be able to get back to...
Philip.
Philip hits Nathan!
And
Edgar gets
Nathan
a-
is dropping
Ooh.
fast. Let's see if he can get flipped around. He can, but now he's back in 13th.
Oh,
He's
man.
gonna have to work his way up. Edgar squeezing
That-
by Philip and Laszlo as well, getting that position back after Philip bullied him on the front straight. So I'm sure he's happy.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of those race situations. We see a lot of kind of nose to tail contacts in Fuji turn 1. It's just one of those natures. The corner's a bit of a weird shape, and with the heavy braking zone, it does lead to that. Really unfortunate. Threw Philip off his groove. He almost lost position to Laszlo. But Nathan's definitely not going to be happy about that. But we still have over an hour and a half.
Absolutely.
left, so,
Just wanted to check in
definitely
with
got time to
the top 4. Val seems to have gotten ahead of Laszlo now, up into 3rd place. So he's gotten back himself back into a podium position. Let's see if he can chase down Colin for that 2nd place.
Nathan already actually making positions up again. Might be metaphorically out for blood. He is lapping real quick and starting to pull away from the guys behind him.
Absolutely. Ujwal actually getting fairly close to Bruno Fantozzi up in 10th place as well for that top 10 spot. So it looks like Ujwal's getting more comfortable with the car as he's putting more laps down. So we'll see what kind of an impression he can make over the hour and 45 minutes that we got.
Yeah, definitely be interesting. We're seeing a little bit of a battle up the front. Thomas trying to get by for 3rd. 2nd, 3rd, and 4th are all pretty close to the point where we'll probably see some pretty big gains on the straightaway. The key kind of seems to be if you can be within about a half a second, you can really capitalize on the draft in Assetto Corsa. That kind of seems to be the money spot.
Absolutely. So I mean the key for these drivers, the key to the race as it will is going to be maintaining that tight gap over a lap. When you're running behind somebody, and hopefully you can get that draft on the front straight and just whiz by. With that draft as an advantage for yourself, it'll become an advantage for the guy behind in the next lap. So it's a delicate balance of trying to stay tight and stay close to get that passing opportunity, and then once you get the move done, you got to hustle and try to open up that gap before the next lap, because otherwise you're going to be swapping positions basically every single lap.
We got 2 battles here right now. Philip was side by side with Edgar, and Laszlo was side by side with Bruno. Interesting to see how this goes. Philip trying to go around the outside of that hairpin. If you can keep it around the outside of that first hairpin, you're in prime position for the 2nd one. But
absolutely, Edgar
not
getting
gonna
a
work
touch
there.
out of
He's gonna drop
sorts
off.
that corner there. But,
Yeah,
maintaining that gap. It's very easy to run wide. I don't know. I find myself, anyways. I don't know. Most of the corners at Fuji are fairly deceptive in terms of their
100%.
execution. Going in, a lot of them are reducing radius corners, which are never helpful. Ooh, a little bump from Philip there, and Bruno getting
scared me a
pushed
little
off. Ujwal up in the 9th place.
Yeah, Bruno went off. I don't know what happened. He's gonna get back at Laszlo. He has the run, not the draft, but just a better exit speed.
Absolutely. Let's check back in with Philip here, who's may have a run on Edgar, although Edgar's got that inside line, which is going to help him through turn 1. But let's see if Philip can try to get around the outside here into turn 1, which is not easy.
I am so glad. This is for the first time ever. I've never been more excited that we have a whole another hour and a half of this.
For sure.
I knew Fuji was going to be a fun round, and it's already starting to be fun.
Absolutely. They run through Coca-Cola corner, as it's called right now. We're just whipping on by.
I didn't even know that.
Tasting
I
the
only know
freshness.
200R. Other soda brands are available.
Yes, we shall
Just finished
stipulate that we are
not
not sponsored by Coca-Cola.
I had a Pepsi before this. So it was pretty good.
You've
I wouldn't
angered
say it
the
was
god
better than
with
a
Fuji.
Coke, though. It was alright. Oh no, and now I'm embarrassed. That corner's actually called 100R, not 200R. I believe 200R is at Sugo.
Oh yes, yeah, and then
My
130R is
Fuji knowledge failed
Suzuka.
me. That's true.
The
You know why it's
Japanese
called that?
do like naming their corners after the radius.
That's true. 130-meter radius.
It's very, very interesting.
I mean, it makes sense, honestly.
Yeah, no, it gives you an indication on
Not cool,
how
but
gnarly the corner is. I mean, we have 2 radius named corners at Fuji actually. You have 100R, which is turn 4 and 5 combined, and then turn 9 is actually called 300R, which is just before that Dunlop chicane.
It's a double apex, so it should technically be like 2 times 300R.
See, now we're getting pedantic.
It used to be a single apex. This whole track used to look a lot different. This track used to basically be like 8 corners.
Yeah, I know
it was
it.
all straight through, high speed.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
the last sector was just like a big sweeper. I wonder why they got rid of it. Maybe it's because it was really dangerous.
Yeah, it was super fast on entry, and then you had to scrub a ton of speed just to be able to make the corner as well. It was one of those deceptive corners I think that you were mentioning earlier. It was a really necessary evil that they had to put into place.
Eric's battling with Randy right now for 14, trying to get past him. Eric's shown some pretty good pace, but usually he's starting the back the last 2 races, despite winning the first race. So he goes to try the inside, yeah.
By there, gets it done. Looks like that should be fairly easy. Although Randy's keeping him honest.
Yeah, it's not quite done with yet.
Yeah, because Randy's gonna have that inside line into that the hairpin here. See if he can get it done.
Exit.
Yeah.
Oh, he's
looks
clear. There
like
you
he's
go.
Clear. Eric
Pretty
up
good
into
pass.
14th place.
Watching Thomas, Val, and Colin. The
Yeah,
3-way battle
all
for second.
very, very tight right now.
I just want to watch these guys when they get to the front straight, because that'll probably close up real fast. Because what you'll get a lot of times with draft
rounding
is you'll
out
get...
Panasonic right now onto the front straight. I mean, you see the Panasonic sponsorship and why it's called Panasonic.
It's true. They make my favorite VCR players.
That is true.
Oh,
Also make
Thomas,
a great
a bit
plasma
far back.
TV.
Yeah.
They did.
They're my favorite brand that makes CRTs. I love.
Oh, yeah.
It's just so much. You know, when you move, you got to get yourself and 5 of your best friends to move it. It's a real fun bonding experience.
Also,
Thomas wasn't
really good microwaves.
Is that true?
Yep.
I don't know what a Panasonic microwave. Other microwaves are available.
Yes, but Panasonic microwaves are nuclear grade.
Is that true?
Yes, they can heat up like a steak in 2 seconds. It's actually absurd. I've burned so many popcorns in a Panasonic
Why are you microwaving steak?
Because I wasn't already aware of the speed. Because I'm an animal, okay?
Oh, alright, understandable. Val gonna be battling Colin for second. Now he's close enough where he can actually get something done.
Yeah, Val is keeping the pressure on.
Didn't mean to stop you, but we got an hour and a half left. We can't expend all of our conversations like microwaving steaks yet. 20 to go is gonna get rough.
I gotta save some
cannot
of the
argue
banter
that.
for later.
Absolutely, I can. Ooh, Val getting
maybe?
right up on his butt.
No.
Ooh, very, very tight. Try to make Colin squirm a little bit under braking.
Yeah, just trying to psych him out. Just sizing him up. Trying to see how hard he's spent. Colin's probably not gonna defend it too hard. I mean, it's second, and there's just under now an hour and a half left.
Absolutely, it's Val taking the late apex there. Looks get a really, really good exit when you're doing that. So we'll see.
What are the odds that
Oh, this will be good.
Yeah, it will be.
That was a really good line from Val. He did kind of stutter a little bit, so I don't know how good it's gonna be, but
Well, he's 0.4 seconds and seems to be slowly decreasing. So we'll see. I mean, it's a long straight. Not sure if he'll get it done this lap, but if he maintains his speed like he did over the last lap, he should be able to get it done the next lap, if not this lap.
I think the Super GT strategy of going to the inside to try and break the draft. It never works, but they always do it.
You know, you do what you can.
No, I mean, the other guy just follows you, but...
Yep, Tom
yeah,
is
you're
actually
right.
getting back into the mix as well after getting gapped slightly from Val and Colin that last lap. So I'm sure with the battle that these two are having Ooh, Thomas getting a little bit out of sorts there and
Whoa!
has to jump on the brakes and get the thing slowed down. That's going to cost him some time and actually get back a little. Oh, no. No, he seems to be still in it, so...
He probably didn't enjoy that.
No, that's,
Tell you
I'm
that.
sure that was a solid pucker moment in the driver's seat, so...
100%.
I mean, he's able to keep it out of the cabbage, so that's what's important.
Yeah, and he's really gonna, with this relatively clean air, he's really gonna benefit from not being right on the battle in front of him. The battle in front of him is gonna slow them down, bring them back to him. So he has that going for him, but he also has the clean air to his advantage, where he can be turning laps, especially in this through the third sector, with not having to worry about cars in front of him, defending, any of that. That's really going to play to his advantage, and it might allow him just to catch up just a little bit as we head into the straight now. It might just be close enough where he can capitalize on the draft.
Absolutely. So it runs a
Not just
little
the
wide
draft.
into Panasonic, but yeah, Val, same kind of gap, about 0.4 seconds at the start of the straight, but he seems to have gotten a pretty good exit, so...
Seems like he's establishing a good rhythm as well. It seems like he's definitely trying to keep himself in a certain position. So I just noticed that, at least from the camera angle, it looked like he was kind of in attack mode, but like not at the same time. It's like I'm kind of just gonna.
Oh, there it goes. Val on the outside. Oh, it's not going to work. Crossover, maybe?
Seems to... Oh, maybe on the... Let's see as he rounds down the hill here. Our TV camera just blocking it out, but you know what? He's going to have that inside line now.
Colin defended it. Val's on the inside. He's going to get by. Oh, I mean, that's just a good pass. Like, just a clean, good pass there.
Nice and clean. That was textbook.
Thomas looking to maybe compromise on that. That's gonna what Colin did was smart. He really slowed up and checked up his turn one because he saw Val was going for the over under, and by parking it on the apex, you get rid of the over under because when they go to cut in on the inside to get past you, you're there. So they either have to drive into you, which has its own ramifications,
of course,
or slow down.
Yeah. And hey, if you can force the guy to go the long way around, you know, that always helps your case.
Winning.
Absolutely.
You're
not gaining a position, but you're definitely.
You could put a blanket over second to fourth.
Oh yeah, it is significant right now how close these drivers are after, I mean, basically 20 minutes. They've been literally nose to tail.
I'm going to try the old swing wide and get the run out of the last corner strategy. Is it going to work? Oh, it's a really good run.
Well, Colin gets an excellent run.
This is going to work for him.
Yep, Val's going to try to force him to take the outside line. Val staying very, very tight to the pit wall there. But it looks like Colin got a really good exit, and he'll get away clean and be able to squeeze right in front.
Thomas has to pick who he's going to go with. You can really get draft off both of those. Gives you a little bit of freedom, but...
Oh, yeah. There's a battle going on for 11th and 10th right now.
Usual trying to get past get past Bruno. See if he can get it done. Val side by side with Colin. Is he going to do it again in the same corner? Yep.
Oh, but Colin seems to have the good run on the inside there, so he's going to stay alongside. Ooh, it's going to be very close. Colin's kind of biding his time.
Chicken here.
And even Thomas right there in fourth place, he's just watching the action happen, and then you know he's going to try to capitalize.
He's well going to try and go around the outside for 10th. There
Colin
are too many battles.
Ooh, has to run on the outside there. Colin going for that inside line to try to make Val go the long way around, and it seemed to work, but really compromised his exit. So Val getting out ahead again and back into second place. Thomas now going for a move on the inside, parking the bus in the apex there, and seems to get a good access. Thomas into second place, and Val getting all out of sorts there. So Thomas jumping 2 places with the battle going on with Colin and Val, just able to get ahead and now clear out a good sized gap. So great move on his part.
Gaglione really just kind of lapping on his own, just kind of going through the paces, just having a spa day at Fuji.
Absolutely. So I mean, I do want to check on him, but this battle's so juicy. So let's just.
Val and Colin both getting sideways in the last corner. That was kind of cool, actually, but.
For sure. Edgar actually and Philip still fairly close together. Let's take a look at their run here as they exit Panasonic and onto the front straight. Edgar
Val
getting a
going
really handy exit. Philip not doing too bad either, but I think Edgar's going to be close enough to get at least alongside Philip before T1.
Should be able to. Val's gone past Thomas just real quick into second.
And it looks like Colin just
Good
got
move.
past Thomas as well.
See, that's the disadvantage I'm telling you about leading going onto the front straight at Fuji. You will not hold that. There is no way you will hold that position.
For sure. Edgar going a bit deep, trying to get it on the inside. Oh, gets bumped by Philip, who tries to
Contact.
do that over-under. And Philip now getting out ahead again.
There's too many battles happening.
Absolutely.
The race is too good.
It is very tough to keep up. That is for sure. Colin and Thomas just bumper to bumper, and even Val just right there. I'm sure they're having a blast right now, just absolutely neck and neck. I think this on-track battle that we're seeing right now might just come down to pit strategy at the end of the day for how close these guys are running.
Yeah, that's the one thing I'm not too sure. I didn't really get to talk with the drivers to work out the pit strategy. I know they will have to stop for fuel. The GT4s can really only run about an hour on fuel, so they are going to have to stop for fuel. Tires is going to be the key. I suspect they'll probably take tires. The issue is, I don't know how bad the wear is going to be near the end of the first stint. Theoretically, you could double stint the tires. I just don't know if during the time of the day, the temperature, and how close these guys are racing, especially, if saving the tires is actually going to be worth it.
Yeah, that definitely comes into play there, because the temperature differences or the temperature range at a track can really make a difference on how much time you spend in the pit and how much time you spend on track as well, relative to it.
Take a quick look at Joseph and Doug, who seem to be in a tight battle for 5th place, just behind the S2, 3, 4 kerfuffle that we've been watching over the past couple of laps.
Watch Joseph. Look at this run he's going to get. He can keep the momentum around the outside.
Oh, he's trying to break the draft.
Side by side into the braking zone. They're both way too deep into the corner.
Oh man, let's see who gets the better exit though. Oh nope, Joseph getting all out of sorts, and Doug getting away pretty clean. Although he got a little deep into the first corner, I think he ended up in much better shape than Joseph on corner exit. Yeah, no, with traction control off, this thing, in those low speed corners, like we were saying before, can be a real handful. So definitely key to be careful on your corner entry and manage your throttle position on exit to try to keep it happy.
100%, and that's what we saw right there was Colin bumps Val. Val gonna go a little bit wide. Colin loses out to Thomas, capitalizing on it.
These
Boys,
three have been just absolutely neck and neck.
Boys, I'm trying to talk about drafting. Stop racing. But that's what we saw there with Joseph and Doug, is that draft. You will get the extra speed. That also means you have to brake earlier though, so it can actually work against you going into turn 1.
Actually, be overcooking.
Absolutely. I mean, hey, we've had no super fun facts because the racing has been so juicy. Let's watch these guys draft, and I'll throw a super fun fact out there. So the super fun fact. I mean, as we know, or as some of us may know, the Supra was actually sold as a submodel of the Celica until 1986, where the 3rd generation Supra lost the Celica name and went out on its own as just Toyota Supra. But if we go back a little bit further in time, the 1981 Celica Supra XX, as it was called, it was a special edition in Japan, it was a car that featured the world's first navigation system. GPS navigation in a car, the world's first, was actually in a Supra. Very interesting.
I didn't know that second part. That's a pretty cool fun fact.
Yeah, no, it's very interesting, and every Supra ever made has come with a flat 6, even the Celica variants, which is also very interesting.
Flat 6?
Flat 6?
Oh, sorry, a inline 6. I'm sorry, I'm such a Subaru guy that everything has to
I
be
want
flat.
to see.
It's
I
not
want
my
to see a
fault.
flat 6 Supra. That would make a lot of people cry, but it would be really fun. Thomas can try and go around the outside of Colin for 3rd. Not gonna work.
Yes, back to the racing after I butchered my fun facts.
Oh, that's all right. It was a really good fun fact.
Until it wasn't fun. Yeah, Colin and Thomas is very, very tight still. Val's been able to kind of open up a little bit of a gap now. Seems to be getting to a bit of a groove while these two kind of battle it out. So I'm sure it's going to help him. And we'll see if he's able to catch Michael.
Thomas might have used up his stuff, as we would say. The rear end of the car is not seeming too planted. He seems to be sliding a little bit more than he used to be. That's going to cost him a lot of time. That could just be the driver being out of the groove, but it also could just be a tire thing. It'll be interesting to see how it develops.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the thing with when you're trying to chase down a driver for position, it's sometimes you get a little greedy, you get a little aggressive, and that can cause you to make those little kind of mistakes and little things that can upset the car.
100%. Doug Newman trying to break the draft hard on the front straight for 5th.
Ooh, that's that swing that we were talking about.
Yeah, 100%. Doing it Indy 500 style. It's only a couple weekends away.
Both of them going deep once again.
Whoa.
Joseph seems to have gotten a better exit, but Doug's gonna have that inside line into 100R there, so it's gonna, or Coca-Cola corner rather.
Come on. If you're gonna flex the corner names, you gotta get them right.
That is true.
And then again, I knew one corner name and got it wrong.
Drivers are getting pretty friendly with the track boundaries. I've noticed, especially through, Fuji has quite a bit of runoff that is actually asphalt. So, I mean, you can take advantage. I'm sure, we'll see over the race if there's any steward complaints. But, maybe we'll see some drivers get a little bit advantageous. And, maybe they get away with it, maybe they don't. But definitely something to watch.
Yeah, use the runoff to catch back up to a person and make a move on the next one. I can see that.
No, you can't use the runoff to catch up, but to be honest, at Fuji, there's not a lot of places where you can really use the runoff to gain an advantage. If you look at a lot of the green, yeah, you can go 4 wheels off to extend your line, but the green's a lower grip than the track, so you're not actually gaining time. You're kind of just running the wrong line, so to speak.
For sure, it's more recovery than speed.
It's really more Coca-Cola corner, as you have told me it is called. Where you can really gain time by abusing the track limits, but it will really compromise your run through 100R.
Absolutely. Joseph once again on Doug's bumper, and Doug is doing everything he can to break that draft.
Doug is racing like it is the last lap of the Daytona 500.
As you should.
But I mean, it's funny. It's entertaining. Gotta get those OTA endurance points.
Joseph getting alongside, once again trying to go to the outside, see if he can make that over-under work, but Doug parking it at the apex, and nothing he can do, although Joseph's going to have that inside line now going into Coca-Cola corner, and he should be able to get it done. Let's see what happens.
And, well set up and well executed from Joseph there.
Yeah, beautiful. Now Joseph Yang up in the 5th place, and hey, look, our old pal Philip has caught the little pack that we have here for 5th place and 6th place. Maybe he can make a move going on Doug here. We'll see what happens.
Philip running the, not by choice, but by random assignment, running the Castrol JGTC throwback paint. Looks pretty good. A little bit wacky on the newer Supra, but a pretty cool paint. Definitely iconic to Japan and Fuji Speedway.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it brings you back to the glory days of the Tom Supra.
Oh, man.
So, oof.
Tom Supra, the car to own in Gran Turismo 3.
Absolutely. If you don't have one in your garage, you're doing it wrong.
100%.
Yeah.
Also, the same livery that was run on the Toyota Celica in the WRC, the one that won the championship, and then got the championship taken away from it because it allegedly cheated.
Oh, with the little turbocharger trick.
Allegedly.
Allegedly. Allegedly, one of the most ingenious cheats in motorsports ever.
It would have been really cool if they actually did it, but only allegedly.
Allegedly.
It allegedly, actually no, it did get them banned from the WRC for a long time.
Yeah, which
still,
is why
they came
back
back.
that it was
They're doing
something
pretty
so simple and no one noticed.
Yeah, it was it was. I mean, it was ingenious. It was cheating, but it was ingenious. Speaking of ingenious, Joseph Yang serving Doug a taste of his own medicine with the weave of the century on the front straight. I actually thought he wrecked. He weaved so quickly. I was really concerned he had crashed, which would have been really unfortunate crashing.
Gotta get aggressive with it.
That's
Colin
true.
Actually squeezing by Val here, so no, Val's back in 3rd place. These two are just at each other's throats. I mean, we're half an hour in, more than half an hour in, and then these two are just inseparable.
Thomas, actually dropping back a little bit. Might have had a mistake, or maybe he's just trying to conserve a little bit. It's yes, it's physically taxing on the car and stuff like that when you're battling, but it's also taxing on the driver. You really use up a lot of your mental stamina, and it really is mentally taxing when you're just battling constantly because it never changes. And once you kind of break up a battle or you get in front after being behind a guy for laps and laps and laps, sometimes it's almost like jarring. Like you almost like forget where your braking
For
points are
sure,
and stuff.
you end up. I mean, I don't know. I
You
guess
end
in
up
my opinion, anyways.
hyper-focusing.
When you're following somebody, you're not really in the groove. Like you're hyper focused on getting past, and then when you do get past, like you said, it's jarring. You have to recalibrate, right?
Yeah,
And also I
you're
think
like,
you end up
oh,
driving in your mirrors as well, especially with how
yeah,
close that these guys are. You get past somebody and you want to stay in that position. So, if they end up close behind and trying to get their position back, you're going to be driving in your mirrors the whole time, making sure that you're defending those lines and those corner entries, and that can be compromising as well.
100%. Edgar Lee gonna go past Philip for 7th here. Is he gonna get it done? Maybe?
No, really jams on the brakes there.
I
Costs
have a
him.
sneaking suspicion Edgar may be using ABS. The GT4s do have ABS. There's nothing wrong with using ABS, but you will have a slight disadvantage on the brakes as Philip
Absolutely, Edgar and
uses
Philip
all the facilities here at
both
Fuji
using all
Speedway.
the facilities there, and Edgar able to get around on the outside there and getting it done pretty cleanly. Although Philip, I mean, that inside line obviously is
Maybe.
so powerful that you can cover just way less distance. And as we can see, I mean, a lot of these drivers where it's like, okay, they got it done, they open a gap. You apex too early in these corners, which is very easy to do, and then your exit's compromised, and the guy that you
Well, is
just
Phil gonna be
tried to
able to get
gap
that
is
undercut?
right behind you. Philip, oh, on his bumper gives Edgar a little push.
A little bit of a bump, just saying hello. Edgar, get real slow. I might have missed a gear.
Yeah, maybe he just seemed to let Philip right by there. Not sure what happened, and maybe had a little trouble getting going again. Maybe a little bit of a wheel spin there in a lower gear, trying to get moving. That'll cost him, but seems to still
Yeah.
stick fairly close to Philip. So we'll see how this battle develops. Randy and Eric actually fairly close together as well.
Alan Collin battling into one. Not quite able to get there. Val might be able to get the better exit, though. I'm not gonna do him too many favors. Val and Collin put on a
Ooh,
great
Val
show.
getting big sideways there on the grass, just touching
What a
the outside there, and
what a
manages to keep it
save.
straight. Use all the
He
facilities, but
gained time.
that was wow. That
I
was
lost it now, but what a great save from Val, honestly.
had me shaken. I'm not gonna lie. That was
I thought that was it, yeah. In modern race cars, you don't really get a lot of steering angle to work with.
absolutely.
So
Philip and
pretty
Doug
impressive.
actually neck and neck. Let's take a look at that. Edgar close behind as well, so I just saw that bump off a couple times there on the old driver tracker. So let's see how this is going as well. Philip
Maybe he's
squeezing
gonna
the
try a
inside. Doug giving him the space on the outside, but
Man, Edgar got the run, but he just kind of went the long way around. He was faster. He just went a little bit too wide.
Yep.
absolutely.
Brakes it a
Edgar
turn.
trying to go on the inside there, trying to pick his line, ends up going a little wide there and costing him some time as well as Philip tries to keep it tidy and right on Doug's backside here. Just going around through the little chicane section here. Seems to be keeping it fairly tidy. Doug seems to be using a little more of the track, running a wide line, and through that corner there, Philip seems to get alongside, but going into Panasonic now. Let's see how this plays out onto the front straight. Who gets the better exit?
Ooh, Doug with a
Ooh, Doug,
huge slide.
big sideways. And that's going to cost him, as Philip's going to be able to sail right past without too much issue. Now, I wonder what's going to happen with the drivers behind in the draft, who they're going to choose to go behind there and see if they can get past as well.
Yeah, if they both pick one guy, they can really capitalize because when the second guy gets the draft, the third guy will get pulled along even faster.
Absolutely, and I mean, you can see both of them were all sticking to the outside, and Doug was getting that little
Oh.
push, so he maintains that yap alongside. Ooh,
Ooh, there might have been contact there. I think Doug just turned to avoid hitting Phil. I didn't hear the bump, but I've been wrong before.
yeah, I think Edgar and Doug got a little bit friendly with each other there.
Joseph Yang in the pits, maybe trying a strategy call that I didn't know about. Might put the full tank in it now, down and away. He's gonna come out in 16th. He might know something that I don't.
Yeah, Joseph Yang now back on track in 16th and very close to Matt Alexander, and he might get that 15th place back in pretty short order. Doug now running alongside Edgar Lee and gets the job done without too much fuss. No, not quite, not quite.
Oh, we still gotta get around him.
Running into Dunlop here, can't make it stick. Dunlop's so tricky, especially on corner entry there. Is, you know, if you don't trace the right line through that first bit of the S's, it really costs you on the second portion, and it's not fun.
Yeah, it'll definitely be interesting to see how how drivers will defend on worn tires through there. Because if you can compromise somebody's somebody through the Dunlop chicane, you can really cause them to lose like a decent amount of time, and it can really play to your advantage. And it is fair. You're allowed to defend.
Oh, absolutely. Doug's still fairly close to Edgar. Philip able to open up a little bit of a gap to Edgar now, so seems to have a nice little bit of room in 5th place there. I'm sure he's enjoying all the mayhem that's happening just behind him.
100%. He's. Oh, Doug might be able to get there. He's been putting on some promising pace through this first corner.
Ooh,
Whoa,
Doug getting a
dips a
little,
wheel.
whoa, way out of sorts, using
Way
all of
sideways.
the road, and that might cost him his
Keeps
7th
straight.
place as Nathan running alongside seems to get it done.
Bit of a sketchy rejoin, but I've seen worse.
Absolutely.
Gotta get back on the road somehow.
Yeah, so Doug now falling to 8th place costs him quite dearly there with that mistake into Coca-Cola Corner. I mean, hey, it's the second car we've seen touch the grass on the outside. Just trying to get that little bit of an advantage as you're going through that sharp left-hander, right? Trying to make the corner that little bit wider, and you know.
100%. And I've got huge news.
Let's hear it.
Joseph Yang is up to 15th.
Hey, gets
He's
it
gotten
done.
his place back.
And the first one to pit, so
And
we'll
he has
see what
gained a
happens to
net
the rest of the folks.
one place.
Val is on Colin once again, trying to go to
Last
the
second.
inside. Whoa!
I just realized they're both running the exact same paint. No, they are different.
No, slightly different. Slightly different.
Yeah, a little different.
Yeah, Val has
makes you
that GR livery with the concept livery. And let's take a look at Colin as he runs through Coca-Cola as well. I believe it's a slightly different livery. Let's take a look.
Yeah, I believe Collins is the actual Toyota Gazoo Racing GT4 reveal for the team, whereas the other is just like, here's the car.
Yes, I believe so. Nathan actually getting all by Edgar there and into 6th place now, so I'm sure he's going to be trying to chase down Philip ahead for that 5th place spot.
It was a pretty good move. He did kind of chuck it in, but he made it work. Joseph Yang now battling Anthony for 14th.
Right, side by side. He's going to try to tuck in again, get that little bit of extra on the draft. Seems to be alongside. I mean, you do get a little bit of side draft with these cars. It's not too dramatic, but you know, it does help, of course. Joseph really kind of sending it in a little deep. Anthony able to kind of carry a little bit more speed through that corner, but seems to get a decent exit. And now Joseph once again moving up a place into 14th.
Alter B into the pits. Let's see what his strategy is. Pitting gonna drop to 18th. Definitely this will probably drop him to the back, especially stopping so soon.
Yep. Seems to have filtered down to 18th place. Dimitri running along in 19th. He is just rounding Panasonic now, so I'm not sure if he's actually going to be able to catch Walter as he comes out of the pits.
He might. The gap between Colin and Val is now 0.7 seconds.
Absolutely. It looks like Walter's still in the pits and Dimitri's on that front straight, so it looks like Walter's just exiting now and he gets back out onto the track. So Walter maintains that 18th place spot, but he's going to have Dimitri pretty close behind. Ooh, got another interesting battle for 8th place here. Doug
The
and
real
Edgar.
key is going to be how long they can get, or how quickly they can get fuel into the car. Because if they can get fuel into the car quick enough, then it will actually be detrimental to take tires. You'll lose time. But if the tires take less time than it does to put a full tank of gas in the car, it's not going to matter then. So that'll be the real important key.
No, for sure.
But at that point, though, because I know, like, as you've mentioned, some cars might have faster refuel times, or some of them might actually be slower than the time it takes with tires. But I was also gonna say too, as far as like the tires are concerned, sometimes it might be more worth it to double stint a set of tires before you run out of fuel, depending on how much fuel you're gonna be consuming. Because with some tire models, for developer knowledge, sometimes the tires, you actually gain grip as you drive the car, and depending on how like they're modeled, that can really become an effect that you'll see with some of these cars.
Getting way sideways there. I just talked to the drivers real quick, asked them. They said the predicted strategy is going to be a one-stop, and they are going to take tires.
Fair enough. So I guess the wear is obviously notable.
Yeah, the wear will be noticeable, but also if you're gonna take if taking tires is less than a full tank of fuel, then you might as well take them. There's no penalty to not taking. There's
Absolutely.
no penalty to taking tires. Right?
Yeah, I mean, and that all depends, right? I mean, as we know with the GT3 vehicles, typically they are not taking tires and fuel at the same time. So you're gonna have when you pit in a GT3 car, at least in real life as well as in iRacing. You know, you get your fuel first, and then the jacks go up, and then you're taking your tires. So double stinting tires in that case, if you can get away with it, is pretty helpful. It saves about 26, 27 seconds on that pit stop, right? Because you can't do everything at the same time.
Yeah, not
100%.
just that, but operating temperatures as well. If you
Absolutely.
keep a tire in those operating temp ranges, it can really outweigh the time that it takes to change those tires over.
Whoa,
Oh, Phil!
Eric with
Laszlo
the
goes
bump.
around.
Wow.
Eric wasn't quite there. Laszlo might not lose his position though. He's gonna lose one position to Randy, maybe.
Randy is zooming by into 12th, so Laszlo's dropped 2 places with that little bump from Eric. I'm sure he won't be too happy with that.
No, Eric, he just wasn't there. He's starting from the back. So, and he's a fast driver, so I know he's probably used to just cutting through the field, but not the best move. I'm not gonna fault him. I'm not gonna beat him over the head with it, but not the best move I've seen. But that's just one of the racing deals. It's only 2 places, and Laszlo's definitely within enough distance where he can get it back.
For sure. So we'll see how that plays out. Hopefully he can get back up in the fight. Eric actually very close with Ujwal now. Gets
Sliding it way wide.
Sideways.
They're probably starting to feel that tire wear. Also, more importantly, Eric started way near the back in 20th. Now up to 11th. This will be for 10th. So he can at least get a top 10.
Is Ujwal gonna be pitting, or is he just trying to break the draft? Let's see. Just trying to break the draft.
Yeah, it looks like it. I also thought he was pitting.
Yeah, I guess Eric's thought process there was, obviously Ujwal moving off to the inside and moving back. It's a little bit of extra distance traveled, so
Yeah,
whether or not.
he had a. I mean, I mean, Eric, he had a really good run. I definitely think he could have got it done. Just one of the. It's just a racing incident. It's just one of those things.
Absolutely. Let's look at Doug here, is now alongside Edgar once again. These two have been battling it out quite a bit as well, so we can ride alongside Doug and see what he can get done here. Trying to do it on the inside. Ooh.
Whoa! Oh, what a move!
What a move! Just bullying Edgar on the brakes, and let's see if he gets a better exit out of here of this Dunlop chicane here, and he seems to do it.
Pretty good move from Doug. I mean, he sent it.
That was a full send.
It wasn't an elegant move. He didn't do something great like force a mistake or psych somebody. He just sent it and it worked.
Yeah, he left as much space as he possibly could, though. You could see that on the right-hander as he was trying to hug the inside as much as he can, left space on the inside as well, because he placed himself on the outside afterwards, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So he's being respectful, just squeeze in, park it on the apex, and leave the space.
Yeah, just leaving the space. Eric currently battling Ujwal for 10th. He's trying to get by, but it wasn't working for him. He was sliding the car a lot.
Yeah, and now he gets back and trying to get back in the trap. But it looks like Ujwal had a bit of a rough exit, because I mean Eric's now within a 10th, a little less, so he's going to be alongside at this point.
Yeah, Eric got a real good exit out of that corner.
Yeah, and it looks like he should be able to get it done into T1. Although Ujwal's going to have that inside line, so let's see who's the latest of the breakers.
Eric going for a beautiful over-under. Is it going to work? Yeah.
Oh, yes. Ujwal running wide there.
A chef's kiss for that move.
Absolutely.
That was a good pass.
Ujwal staying close behind, though. Let's see how they take. Ooh, Eric taking Coca-Cola a little wide. The driver's using all the track. Yeah, Fuji's, it's so tricky, especially lap over lap, the consistency that you need to maintain. It's very unforgiving.
It's also a relatively quick circuit, except for a decent amount of Sector 3. It is a relatively quick circuit, so you kind of really have to conserve your momentum everywhere you can. Randy has gotten past Laszlo, but Laszlo might be able to get it back. Stu Chen now pitting. That'll be his only stop.
We have not seen any of the leading cars really go into the pits yet, so we'll see when one jumps. I'm guessing that's when the pit window is going to be really open, and all the drivers are going to start filtering in. It might be just a battle of who's going to blink first.
Yeah, if I had to make a prediction, it would probably be once the leader pits, we'll see a lot of other cars pit. The drivers are all on a voice channel, so they might try and organize something themselves. That way you can organize pitting with somebody else and you'll get the draft.
Yeah, absolutely. And what if they're going
it's up to the driver.
What if they're going to organize a coup?
Yep.
I was gonna say, usually they tend to be pretty good about information. They usually tend to just kind of like bounce ideas off of each other. If you've ever been in the driver mod races, they tend to do that a lot. Like there's a lot of planning that goes in before the race as well. Like in practice, they kind of get like some general info on the car before they make a decision. So there's a lot of insider knowledge there if you're actually like there doing the race.
Oh, for sure. But there's a lot of knowledge sharing too. Like they're not going to be shy and try to go trade secrets on you. Like if you ask the right questions, they're gonna there's no hiding it, right? Because hey, we're all here to race and have fun together. So
may as well keep it tight, right?
Exactly. Keep it tight and share the love.
Yeah.
Stu, with his pit stop, I've now noticed is going to be a lap down. I mean, everybody else is going to have to pit, so he's not going to remain a lap down. But
yeah, actually, Val's been moving at a very quick pace. Michael actually is the first to pit now, and Val moves into the lead.
Michael going to pit out of the lead. Let's see where he comes out. Probably taking the full tank and some tires, as of course.
Yeah. So Philip is actually just rounding the front straight now out of Panasonic, and Michael's still stuck in the pits, although he is in the first box and he's going to exit.
Going now.
So we will see now. I don't think Philip's going to catch up quite yet,
I don't think he will, but it's
exit
close.
of the pits is fairly. Basically right next to corner one, right? So
Nathan Hodgins is in the pits. Nobody else seems to be taking it though.
Yeah, absolutely. I assume now we're gonna see these the rest of the top top 10 or so starting to filter in as Michael coming out still, and I mean in 4th place. So solid pit stop for
Yeah,
him.
I mean, they're going to be looking at that. The top 3 were really on such a breakaway pack. They're kind of the control. They're basically the deciding factor. If all 3 of them pit, the guy who's running in for it, well, Philip in this case, because Mike's already pit. Philip might be able to make his decision. Philip might be like, you know, I'm going to try and run with these guys, see if I can get these positions, and then pit. Or he might try and pit because he's no longer going to be in the clear air. They're really going to be the ones that kind of set forward the action for the rest of the field.
Oh yeah. One thing I have to mention too is that I would be surprised if it's gonna happen towards the 45-minute mark of the race, so you get equal time spent on both sets of tires, so you know that you're not really abusing one set more than the other. And I also wouldn't be surprised if people were pitting, because I've made this mistake a bunch myself, where you don't set your pit strategy in game, and the next thing you know, you go for a pit stop and nothing happens, or you don't really get the uh, the exact parameters that you want to be set in. So that can really be a hindrance too. That could really that could really affect someone later in the race.
For sure. The recommendation for a lot of these drivers is to, obviously if they can, is to set their pit strategies ahead of time, which you can do in a Assetto Corsa, which
Yeah,
really
exactly.
helps as you're going through the race, because then you don't really have to juggle with the controls as you're running into the pits. And I mean, as we know, Assetto Corsa, sometimes you'll set a pit strategy while you're racing, and then you get to the pits and hey, what's that? And then it doesn't do anything again, and you're back to square one. So
Yeah, it's actually
So
part of the setup as
Colin's
well.
going to be coming out
Yeah.
now. Sorry to talk over you guys. In 8th, he pitted out of 3rd. So you're going to lose about 5 places on the stop. He did have a huge gap to the guys behind him, though. So that's just a rough estimate. Matt Alexander lost a lot of time on the stop. He overshot the box, had to reverse into the box, and then when the pit stop initially ended, still had it in reverse. So he floored it out in reverse, put it in first.
oh man,
Oops.
just a comedy of errors.
Well, yeah, a little bit awkward, but happens to everybody. Randy's coming in the pits now.
Yeah,
I think
Val's
this
still
might.
running in first place. Michael Gaglione now up into 3rd once again, so he's chugging along pretty well. Thomas doing a big drift, and he's just about 6 seconds up the road from Michael. So, but I mean, hey, Thomas still has to pit, so we'll see how this plays out. Now, what I wonder with Val is if he's gonna try to just run long, because his lap times are pretty strong. If he's gonna try to forge a little gap. Between himself and Michael and go for the overcut.
Yeah, it'll definitely be interesting to see because these will
Oh,
go
going
about an
wide.
hour on the tank, to my understanding. So
Absolutely.
he's gonna have
Thomas
to keep an
filtering into the
opposite.
pits now. So we'll see where he drops from 2nd.
Let's see if Thomas can come out in front of. See if he can come out. He's not gonna come out in front of Mike.
Should be able to get out in front of Philip, so he'll have that 3rd place spot still. We'll see what happens. He's still
Oh
stuck in there.
no,
No, maybe not.
no, he won't.
Not quite. Let's see when he gets moving
See if he,
again. Seems to be a
let's see if
long
he can get out
stop.
in front of Colin. If he can get out in front of Colin, he'll have gained a place, or at least he'll have kept his place.
I don't think so.
No,
Not quite, no.
not gonna work. Bruno in the pits. Thomas has lost a spot on that stop.
Absolutely.
Now
So
he's
looks
gonna
like
be able
that
to beat him with lap traffic here.
looks like that undercut worked for Colin pretty well. Yeah, that lap traffic's not going to help Thomas either on his outlap, so that's going to be very interesting to watch.
Dimitri also into the pits from 19.
Val running pretty good in terms of pace. Michael putting down a faster lap time on 148.1 versus Val's 148.6. But these 3 guys, Val, Michael, and even Thomas have been putting down fairly strong lap times throughout the length of the race. As well
Yeah,
as
I'll be sure to
Colin.
see.
Colin now up into 5th, so he's gained another place back. Although Edgar's not giving up without a fight.
I think Val is gonna be coming in right now.
Let's take a look at that. Yep, Val very aggressive on the pit entry, cutting that as close as he can. Ooh, a little bit dicey, but hey, he
I mean,
avoids the
rally
Arco,
driving
and
on the way in.
that was some good stuff. He's evoking Carlos Sainz Sr. With that Toyota wheeling.
He drove a Celica.
Absolutely. Carlos Sainz, the 3-time WRC world champion of the cheater Celica that we were talking about earlier.
Carlos Sainz Sr. to clarify.
Yes,
The
correct.
viewers who are thinking of Carlos Sainz Jr., the F1 driver, he does not have 3 WRC championships.
No, no. Although that would be pretty rad if he did.
It would be pretty cool. It'd be a really crazy switch. Gaglione gonna resume the lead. Val's gonna drop to 3rd. Honestly, I think he'll probably come out 6th here. He might stay in 4th.
Might stay in 4th. I think it's gonna be close with Colin, who's now bombing into turn 1, but Val. Oh no, he has to give up that inside line, so that's gonna cost that position. Although Edgar now is sitting just behind him.
Battling straight out of the pits.
So we'll see how this unfolds. Edgar taking a peek on the inside, but
was Edgar one of the people who made the very early pit stop, like within the first little bit of the race? No, I don't think so, right?
I do not think so. I believe Edgar's still to pit.
Edgar might still have to pit, yeah.
Yeah, still to pit as well. We got Philip in 2nd place, Doug in 3rd place. Both of them still need to pit as well. So, I mean, they should fall down the order. Although Philip's got a nice little gap to Doug right now at 4 seconds. So, we'll see if he can. Oh, and Doug actually getting a little bit out of sorts. So the gap has increased a little bit. So, we'll see if Philip might have to come to the pits and take advantage of that little mistake that Doug made and see if he can get out ahead in the end after Doug has to pit as well. Whoa!
Just being with a really good pass around the outside of Laszlo.
Looked like
Inside
Michael got a little sideways there on the exit as Philip was getting by him. So that's
I think Matt Alexander has spun on track, losing a ton of plays.
Oh yeah, after I guess Philip was trying to go past the lap traffic, and I guess Michael just got a little bit out of sorts in corner exit there and looped it. So gets going again. So hopefully that didn't hurt him too bad. Philip still running, going out for another lap.
I mean, it's an interesting strategy. I think Ujwal still has to pit.
And Doug staying out as well. Val actually very close to Colin now. Let's see if he can try move into turn 1. Gonna bide his time once again. A lot of time biding from Val that we've seen over this series so far. Very calm and collected when following guys close to him. Very, very methodical in the way that he executes overtakes.
You know, Thomas, that's a really really good insight into kind of the drivers in this race. I just want you to know I'm having a really good double chocolate cookie right now.
That sounds delicious, and I am now very hungry.
Big news though, as Ujwal comes into the pits.
Well, Ujwal pitting. He might end up in 14th. I think he's gonna have enough time, enough of a gap there to Anthony behind to end up in 13th place rather.
I think he'll come out 13th. That's my prediction. I think he's got enough.
Val trying to do the send. Maybe he does the over-under. Maybe not, but on the exit here, looks like Colin gets out of sorts. So many spots that you can pass around Fuji, right? So many corners, especially through this slow sector 3 here. Really depends on your approach through each corner and how each point that you decide to apex affects the corner ahead, and it's just a balancing act really, just trying to pick your lines. Val getting a really good exit out of Panasonic there on the front straight here. Colin's gonna try to break the draft if he can, but I don't know if he's gonna be able to do it. Just kind of moving off towards the inside, very aggressive towards the inside, gonna force Val onto the outside line, but Val may have the run here into turn 1. He may have enough speed on his side here.
I'll tell you what, the gap between 1st and 2nd, 0.1 laps, is a pretty big gap. But I'll tell you what, I think the battle for 2nd or even 3rd, with how close these cars are running, is going to be absolutely incredible, and honestly will probably go to the line.
Absolutely. Val getting a really good exit at turn 1 there, even though he had the outside line there. And yeah, no, Colin's going to have to filter behind. Let's see if he can. Yeah, Val getting through Coca-Cola corner nice and neatly. We have Colin still keeping him pretty honest behind though, although he has lost a little bit of ground.
Val just not having to worry about defending too hard, and as I say that, Colin gets real close, so he might actually have to. Val just trying to get around the lapped cars. They get around Randy. Randy not going to make himself too big, too wide to get in the way of people. Now Colin just has to get past Randy. Randy is entitled to run his normal line.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So the other cars do have to. I mean, as the car that you have the blue flag on your side, as the car that is lapping that vehicle, your responsibility is to pass that lapped car safely. You know, the idea being that, like you're saying, the car that is being lapped, you know, you just maintain your line, because if you maintain your line, then you are predictable. Um, that's the main key. You don't want drivers trying to kind of let you by and, oh, I'm gonna get on the, whoa, somebody having a
Oh,
bit of a speen. 14th place. It looks like that was Randy
with
there.
Anthony.
Anthony actually had a little bit of issue. He drops down to 15th place. Had a
Yeah.
bit of a spin there on the exit of Panasonic.
Well,
Haven't seen that yet.
yeah. Might have just. And you know what? That's that's kind of like rubbing salt in an open wound, because when you spin in that last corner, you lose like any sense of having a good run on the front straight. Doug Newman in the pits.
So Doug
Yeah, it
now.
really tanks your lap.
Oh yeah, for sure. Because it just, I mean, it ruins everything. It ruins your possibility of getting a decent draft. It ruins your run into T1. It costs you a lot of time. And
Yep, costs you a lot of the next lap for sure. It's gonna, yeah, you really feel it on the next lap in terms of your time.
for sure. Val
Doug
getting
still in
closer
the
to Philip,
pits.
but Philip is yet to pit.
Yeah, I don't know. Wait, Doug probably gonna come out 11th. Yep, losing to Laszlo.
Val using all of the track.
Yeah, it seems like Phil's holding his ground if it's true that he hasn't pit yet. So
He's gonna have to take fuel sometime.
Woohoo!
Whoa.
That was a move.
Val right on him though. He's not gonna give up without a fight, so we'll see how this unfolds.
Philip, maybe even fuel saving a little bit to try and go a bit longer on the tank. As from my knowledge, the tanks will go about an hour, and it's been an hour. It's been a little bit more than an hour, actually. So I'm interested to see what happens in the next couple laps for Philip. Either I don't know how to measure a fuel tank, or Philip's been fuel saving hard.
Ooh, that was interesting. So I guess Val tried to send it on the inside, taking the special line through Panasonic, and guess he got a little bit a little bit too close for comfort up to Colin's bumper, and he actually had to jam on the brakes a little bit there, which really cost him his corner exit. And now, you know, he's in a much worse spot in terms of the draft. I think he's gonna be able to get alongside, but now into turn one, they're side by side, and Colin's gonna have that inside line. So.
This
definitely
is
gonna have
really
to steam
important.
later,
I think,
for
to
sure.
my knowledge, these cars have horns.
And he was flashing those lights as we saw as well. Right along
I heard
with
the
Val
horn,
here
and it was hilarious.
on the outside. Ooh, leaving a supersized spot on the inside
Oh,
line
yeah,
there for Colin.
You turn the lights off for those cars. I'm pretty sure they might have a flasher. I think that's what's up with the. Yeah, I think that tends to be a thing with the Kunos cars. If you don't have the lights on, it's like a factory race car, it'll have a flasher.
Yeah, absolutely. Val going with the undercut. Can he make it stick? Colin is going to have the inside line here.
Well, he might go wide.
I was
The
gonna try a
Dunlop
crossover.
chicane. Here we go. Colin getting
Val's
out of
gonna be-
sorts, and Val's going to be able to get alongside, but this is very, very tight.
Val's gonna have that advantage though, because he got to run the normal line through the Dunlop chicane, and Colin kind of had to run the defensive line. So Val really got to close up there. Let's see if he can capitalize on it out of Panasonic, because it's gonna make the run for the front straight.
Let's see him cut him, try to take a late apex there. Colin runs
Oh, yeah,
wide.
looks like he's
What
setting
line?
himself
Val
up
gets
there.
a really good exit, so let's see now.
This is incredibly funny because I can hear Val's horn, and it is 100% the horn from the Dukes of Hazzard's Challenger. Charger.
That is incredible. Val squeezing past without too much issue.
Philip has
Colin's
finally
gonna
pit.
try to filter behind and get ahead again. Ooh. Ooh, Colin gonna send it on the inside.
Make it stick, maybe. Woohoo! This is now the battle. Now the battle for second after Philip has stopped for fuel. Finally.
Yeah, Philip, I guess, running really long on that tank. Val using all of the track out of Coca-Cola once again, as we've been seeing from many of the drivers, and that costs him his momentum through 200R there. Coming up to the
Val's
hairpin out on the outside. Gonna try that
Oh,
over-under
wow.
once again.
And you know, Val seems to be doing a really good job of running 100R because he's absolutely hugging that inside white line. He is pretty much as close to putting two wheels in the dirt as you can get, and that is the shortest way around that corner. So he's saving just fractions of a second that are really adding up.
For sure. And a Dunlop, Colin parking it on the apex. Val having to run. But has to run wide there. This is, man,
It's a
they
good
are
battle.
they're just all over each other. All over each other like a cheap suit.
That's my line.
People still don't say that, right?
Nobody says on him like a cheap suit.
Like flies on manure. That's what it's like.
There you go. That's a good
Oh.
one.
Well, the actual thing is all over him like
Well,
a cheap suit.
Like stunt driving tickets on takeovers.
Oh,
true.
bud.
There you go. That's a good one.
Oh,
Val,
yeah.
right behind Colin, although Colin seems to get a decent exit, so that gap's being maintained. See who decides to do the yeet into T1.
Is Val gonna try a late
Val
move?
on
Is he
the
gonna be a
inside
sportsman
now.
about it? Woo! Might have been a bit
Deep
too
on the
fast.
brakes. Deep on the
Way
brakes.
too far into that corner.
Ooh. Yeah, that cost him. And now, hey, back where he started, behind Colin, now to fight over this lap once again.
Val picking up roughly a metric ton of understeer through that corner, just on the brakes, way too late. Luckily, he has 36 minutes and 30 seconds to get the place back, so.
Yeah, these guys really are harassing each other. At this point, it's about who's going to buckle first.
Absolutely. And I mean, with them just kind of battling so hard, it's cost both of them their lap time, and it's really caused Michael Gaglione in first to just walk away with it. Really, I mean, these guys are in the 149s, mid 149s, just because they're, so tight with each other, just constantly battling for that second place position. Whereas if we look at Michael really briefly here, he's in the 148.3s, so he's just opening up a big old gap to these guys battling behind him.
Yeah, I mean, Michael is he's like almost a sector ahead of these guys. Like, he is absolutely walking away with it. It is going to take a serious pit stop mess up or a crash for him to lose this race.
No, I
trying
think
to
so.
commentators curse him, but that's what it would take.
Commentators curse isn't a thing. What are you talking about?
That's 100% a thing. It's not
Yeah,
a thing,
at that
but
point,
it is.
it's a high security run, pretty much. At that point, you just cruise it. You don't really have to worry about anything. You're already so.
Am I
far
not
gone.
supposed to say on the broadcast that we're going to intentionally kill his engine on the last lap? Is that supposed to be private?
Hey, that's a red line reference.
Quiet. Shh.
It's a red line.
Oh, I mean, I really hope his engine makes it. Nah, I'm just kidding. We're not that low. The racing's good enough. Edgar Lee finally pitting. He'd been staying out for a while, hadn't he?
Yeah, I think so. Do we have time for a super fun fact? These two harass each other on track?
Let's do a super fun fact.
Let's
We
do it.
got 34 minutes left.
Let's do it. So with the Mark V Supra, it is actually sold with the 2-liter motor, just like how we have in North America. 250 horsepower or so. In Japan, actually, there is a version of that 2-liter motor, that inline 4 with the Supra, that only has 194 horsepower. So actually less horsepower than the Toyota 86, which is its sister vehicle within the Toyota lineup.
I mean,
guess
to be
those
fair,
are-
the GT86 is known for its horsepower, so it is
Absolutely,
a very high
it is a chariot of speed, as we know.
It is true. That's got to be like an import, or that's got to be like a emissions thing.
Yeah, I wonder, because it's the same 2-liter B48 that you see in most, BMWs these days. BMW. But yeah, I guess it's I guess what we would call the 320i tune. It's that.
Oh, yeah.
328.
Where they
and the
flashed the
330,
tune
I
on
think.
it.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
so the 320 would be the, I guess, lower horsepower variant. 180 to 190-ish horsepower, and then you have your 330i, which is the 250-ish horsepower version of the same motor.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, so the Supra has that same variation with the 190 horsepower, or 194 rather, available in
Oh,
Japan, which is kind of interesting.
Colin's just
Is it
missing the
a
corner,
turbo,
loses
or
a
is
ton
it
of time to valve.
naturally aspirated?
It is turbocharged.
Huh. Alright.
I don't know how you turbocharge a 2-liter inline-4 and make less than 200 horsepower.
Yeah, I was gonna say that seems a little sus. If it was naturally aspirated, I'd be like, okay, all right.
I imagine
It's
it's
a
just
good
torque.
jam for
It's
NA.
just it's boost limited or torque limited or something like that.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's either for emissions or to make it more reliable. Don't know though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nathan Hodgins is up to 6th, getting past Joseph Yang into turn 1. Just a nice and tidy, get on the inside up into turn 1 and then you're gone.
Oh, it seems like there's a really
You guys want to know
Oh,
a
never mind.
Fuji fun fact?
Let's hear
let's
it.
hear it.
This is kind of funny. I had a friend who went to Fuji once, the track for the WEC 6 hours of Fuji race, and I once had to help him navigate around Fuji using Google Maps because he had no idea where he was.
That is very interesting.
That's actually true.
And the cool thing, speaking of that, is that like a lot of modders right now or content creators for this game end up doing that. They'll just go drive on certain roads and then, they'll have like a clientele or something like that. Just like, hey, can you make this track for me? It's like, okay, well, send me footage of like driving this road or like stuff that like you'll really notice, like a crack in the road at this position at like these coordinates. And some of the 3D modelers actually get stuff really good in this game.
I will
Like-
say actually, just to build on that, one of the more popular mods for Assetto Corsa is LA Canyons, of course, which models the
Oh, yeah.
Angeles Crest and Angeles Forest Highway. That mod itself was actually crucial for myself, being able to spot locations, and I actually used it to learn the highway ahead of myself actually going to LA back in late 2019 and driving it myself in a Porsche Boxster back in October 2019 pre-pandemic. But
That is
honestly,
awesome.
driving the real road, I was amazed at how right the Assetto Corsa mod was, like how close it was to the real thing and how familiar it felt, which was very strange for going there for the first time and it already feeling like I knew it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's one of those, especially with like the Mosport 2020 mod, which was made using LiDAR data. Is a great mod. It's funny whenever I've been to the track and you kind of look at it and you're like, oh, it is really well done, especially with the LiDAR data. Laszlo in the pits, interesting.
For sure.
But it's interesting because you can actually run it and it's modeled so realistically where as a driver you kind of train like, when I'm at this part I have to look here, and when I'm here I have to look here, and here's where the marshal post is, here's where this is, here's where the cutouts are, here's where the safety vehicles go, etc. So it is really interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I mean, people tend to overlook how important the actual, beyond the, let's say,
Surroundings,
track
yeah.
surface, the
Surroundings,
modeling
man.
and what have you, the surroundings are so key, right? Identifying landmarks around the track. I mean, sometimes it's, a tree can be your breaking point, right? So it's that sense of
Or a crack in the
atmosphere.
asphalt.
Yeah, or
Like a
cracking
seam
the
in the
asphalt or a
grass.
seam, yeah. So that sense of atmosphere and those little details are so key.
Yeah.
Let's say in sim to actually be able to train and use it towards, real life driving.
Yeah, and that's the thing that sometimes people have an issue with when they go from real driving to a sim drive, is if the sim model of the track hasn't been updated recently. Particular one I could think of, actually, not to call anyone out, is iRacing's
Mosport?
Mosport.
Yeah, I
It
was
just
just going
one
to
of their
say.
first skins. The main issue that I have is the breaking point. A lot of people use the end of the back straight is the bridge, or just after the bridge, but that bridge wasn't there for the longest time. So when you go into a version that doesn't have the bridge, you're kind of like, oh, I don't have a braking reference, and that can cause problems.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
And I mean, another thing with the iRacing rendition of Mosport, as it was one of the earlier scans from 2008, I believe, that's when the runoff of turn 2 was still grass. So,
Yeah,
yeah, it's,
I would encourage anybody who gets the chance on iRacing to run Mosport, because you can really appreciate how sketchy it was with the grass runoff, because every race there's a wreck in turn 2. Every race I've been in, there's a wreck in turn 2.
I've done it multiple times.
Yeah. Turn 2's a tricky corner.
Absolutely, especially on cold tires, lap 1. Oof.
100%.
I mean, we saw it in our first race here in the Honda Fits. A lot of cars getting
Yeah.
out of sorts there, so.
Just under 30 minutes left here in round 3.
Absolutely.
Fuji Speedway.
Should we take a little break for our sponsors and our little ad
Let's do it.
spots?
Just before we go away to the ad break, I just want to point out, because we missed it, Eric did pit, but he come out back in 10th.
Okay, so
He's
good.
just got to make up a little bit of time to the guy ahead. He's 0.2 laps back. But yeah, let's run a little bit of an ad break for our sponsors.
Beautiful. Let's do that. And yeah, a word from our sponsors. Here we go. Big thanks to Philip at DriverMod.ca, who has been so instrumental in putting these OTA esports series on. You can check out his website, DriverMod.ca, where he has all of his musings and writings all about going fast for time attack and otherwise. So make sure you check it out, DriverMod.ca. If you want to support the folks that put on the series, make sure you go to OntarioTimeAttack.ca, click on the shop icon, and you'll see there is a brand new OTA e-racing t-shirt. It's an awesome blue shirt. We got our little steering wheel on there, cars zooming by, and all the folks that support our series. So make sure you check it out, OntarioTimeAttack.ca, and make sure to click on shop. Thanks. And we are back, just tuning in with the action. Imani had a really awesome Fuji fun fact that we just heard over the break, so let's hear it.
So this was from Daniel Santibanez. So he said that the long pit straight has also been used for drag racing. NHRA exhibitions were run in 1989.
That is so sweet.
I mean, to be fair, it's prime.
Yeah. Yep, that actually makes sense as to why they started putting in like these they started putting in chicanes around then too. Back when the place was like all of like not three corners, like I'd say like back when there was like no chicanes. Like I don't know this track too well, but I remember that like seeing older footage from like stuff that you'll find on the internet that it was just a whole bunch of sweepers. There was none of the chicanes that you happen to see here today.
Yeah, absolutely. It's pretty interesting how this track's evolved over time, but I'm sure, yeah, with your drag racing, it's like they can do all the work in the background when you just have cars kind of ripping up and down the straight.
Yeah, pretty much. It was pretty cool. Thanks to Daniel Santibanez, big fan of the show. I mean, he also is an OTA, but big fan of the show.
Absolutely. Let's I have another fun Supra fun fact.
For a super fun fact.
The world's fastest Toyota Supra in the quarter mile, it's a Mark IV, of course. It completed the quarter mile in 6.05 seconds at 240 miles an hour.
That's fast.
It had a 2JZ, of course, GTE with a single 98mm turbo.
Oh.
And a 5-speed sequential transmission.
What? How long? What was the seconds on the quarter mile?
6.05 seconds, so almost a 6 flat.
Was 4.05 seconds of it just the turbo spooling?
There's nothing until 9,000 RPM. And just all hell breaks loose afterwards. Yeah.
Just nothing, bang.
Everyone knows that's how single turbo Supras drive. There's nothing until 6,000 RPM, and then all hell breaks loose, and then you have wheel spin in like 5th gear.
It's like driving an old Group C car where it was just big turbo, try not to crash it. Thanks.
Yep. How much boost can we fit? Lots of boost.
Lots of, especially when the Wastegate sees his shut and you qualify on pole at Le Mans by 6 seconds. But I'm going to leave that fact for when we go to Le Mans in a couple of weeks.
Oh yes, the famous
I think next
Nissan
week.
Group C car. I think that is next week actually. Let's take a quick look at our schedule here. I'm just gonna poke at it real quick. Yeah, so next week is the 911 GT3R at Le Mans. That's going to be very awesome. I believe it's a night race actually, which is going to be very an
Oh,
interesting challenge for these drivers. So that's going to be very interesting. June
as a
1st, we have the GT2 Ferrari 458, the Lausitzring. That's a little call out to DTM that we talked about a little bit earlier. Um, we have V8 supercars at Bathurst on June 8th. That's going to be freaking awesome. And then to close out the season on June 15th, the Dallara Formula 3 car from 2017 at Paul Ricard.
I gotta say, I love Le Mans. Lausitzring's a track that's not used as much. It's a shame we're not going to it in DTM cars, but GT2s were also a pretty cool era of racing because it was basically just power with a little bit of downforce. So I'm looking forward to the Lausitzring. V8 supercars at Bathurst is going to be incredible because it's Bathurst and it's V8 supercars, and I love both of them.
It's the match
Le
made in
Mans
heaven.
will be fun. Yeah, 100%. And of course, I'm going to love Le Mans. I'm a big sports car racing guy. Le Mans is going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be a night race too, so we're going to get the sports car racing experience of just looking at headlights at night, which is going to be fun.
Always fun. And I mean, Le Mans is particularly challenging at night. You know, especially along the back straight. There's
100%.
not too much in the way of lighting, and it's actually quite wide. So you know, it can catch you by surprise. Whereas you know, if you're running the Nürburgring at night, you know, on a I guess a different note, the Nürburgring, because it is so narrow, I mean, obviously it's a very challenging track to run at night, but because it is so narrow, your headlights on your vehicle that you're racing will often light up the entire section of the track that you're looking at from edge to edge because there is so little runoff on either side. So you do tend to have a little bit more confidence going into the corners at night at the Nürburgring than you know you can have with Le Mans in certain sections.
100%. And to be honest, Le Mans is a grueling race, but it's not as difficult as it is at other tracks because the back straights and the run after Mulsanne Corner in Indianapolis kind of does give you a bit of a mental break.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's not as taxing necessarily, especially like the Nürburgring 24 hours. That race is just absolutely brutal because you've got everything as fast as a GT3 and everything as slow as like a Golf with a roll cage in it.
Yep. And I'll shout out my fellow team members of Jim Barris 3030 Racing, 3030 Racing. So it was myself, Eric Del Rava, who's currently in 10th. We had Mike Wagner and Lawrence DeFranco, who are also part of this league, and unfortunately couldn't make it tonight. And then our pal James Houghton, friend of OTA. And Stephen Ugoivan as well, who was just an absolute monster behind the wheel of GT3 cars. We actually won the Nürburgring 24 Hours in iRacing this year, which is pretty awesome. I mean, the field was all GT3s, so it definitely made it a bit easier to not have to deal with traffic. But yeah, no, definitely a tough endurance race to be a part of.
100%. Yeah, the Nürburgring 24 is probably honestly the most taxing. The Rolex 24 is pretty taxing because of how narrow it is. You kind of come up on traffic a lot faster, and there's not a lot of good places to pass it. Whereas Le Mans, because it's larger, same amount of cars at Le Mans doesn't feel that populous.
No, for sure. And like you said, you have the width of Le Mans through most of the sections to actually be able to kind of get past slower traffic without too much incident. And also, you know, obviously it is a longer lap. It's not quite as long as the Nürburgring, of course, but it is a longer lap than somewhere like Daytona. You know, where you're not going to be meeting traffic as often, let's say over a race.
100%. Matt Alexander going to get past Stu Chen. Sorry, Stu Chen rather. Stu Chen might have missed a gear there, I think.
Yeah,
Car definitely made a weird noise.
Weird noise and a bit of a slow exit. 19 minutes remaining now, just about, and the field is kind of spread out a little bit. It looks like Colin running along in third place now. Val's been able to actually open up a little bit of a gap. Val's actually running very quickly. He set his fastest lap a few laps ago.
I think Philip might have spun it down in the Dunlop hairpin.
Ooh, and now Doug Newman getting past it now into 7th place.
Yeah, I don't quite know what happened, but Philip was really slow, so he either spun or maybe just missed the corner.
Looks like he's struggling a little bit to get back into the groove. Lost a little bit more time to Doug up ahead as well.
Yeah, spins will do that to you. It really is a shame. You kind of just it can easily, very easily compound too.
Oh, for sure, right? I mean, especially, through certain corners. Let's say you have an approach in a corner, you're a little bit of aggressive, and it catches you out. Your next couple laps, reaching that same corner, you're gonna get that little bit of stage fright, and you're gonna, try to play it safe, and you end up not being able to carry as much speed for those corners, and it costs you even more time.
Yeah, current closest battle on track is Philip and Doug Newman here. Philip only a second and a half behind.
Yeah, absolutely. Philip is using all the track there, and actually losing a little bit of time to Doug up ahead. I mean, hopefully he can kind of with his clean air get back into a groove and try to put up a fight towards Doug for that seventh spot as the race comes to a close.
Yeah, I'm gonna eat this cookie before this race is done. I'm gonna eat it right now.
Enjoy. Let's do another super fun fact.
I
Uh,
want to hear it.
all right, so most Japanese cars, usually when they are released in Japan, usually it takes a couple of years for them to kind of make their way over to North America, if they do make it over to North America. At least that's how it was back in the day. But the original Supra, when it was named, when it was a trim line on the Celica, was really tailored around the North American market with its bigger inline six engine and more of a GT spin on it. Personal luxury coupes and sport coupes were all the rage in the late 70s in the United States. So Supra came out in Japan in 1978, and it was available in in the USA as of 1979. So right away, it was available in the U.S. as they knew it would be Toyota thought it would be a big seller, and it really worked out for them. So actually, the Celica Supra, it was more than just a trim level for the first two generations of the Supra. So it was actually a Celica that was stretched by 5.1 inches in the wheelbase, and then that had that 2.6 liter inline six instead of an inline four like on the Celica.
Huh. That seems like a lot of work to be an additional trim. I
Yeah,
can see why that became just like a separate car.
absolutely. And the first generation Supra actually had a live axle.
It's not particularly great.
No, it is not. But
It's
hey, a lot of
cool,
people
but
don't know. Tangential Toyota fact is the AE86 that everyone praises and loves, and I love, has a live axle as well.
that's true. That's also why it really doesn't handle well. It's really good at going sideways, though.
Absolutely, it's part of the reason why it makes such a good drift car.
That is true.
It wouldn't be the tofu delivery car otherwise.
That is facts. I cannot argue with
Fuji. Time for a Fuji fun fact.
that. Speaking of
Michael Gay.
Fujiwara, hey,
God.
you can give me crap for that after the stream.
Suffering is eternal. Gaglione gonna be coming through Dunlop corner. He's gonna complete his 50th lap. Coming on the line. That was it. That was the fact. He's gonna complete his 50th lap coming on the line.
Dang, and still just about 14 and a half minutes to go, and yeah, no, Michael's maintaining a really good pace, low 148s this entire race basically, just making it look easy. So this is going to be a fairly dominant win if he can just keep consistent for this last few minutes of the race.
So Doug Newman has just set a personal best.
Yeah, saw that 148.5, pretty handy lap time around here.
Yeah, 148.5, I believe, is within just over half a second of the pole time. So plenty of fast enough.
Absolutely. I mean, over these long endurance races, right? I mean, we've discussed it before on the previous streams, but your out and out pace, lap over lap, let's say in terms of a 110% lap, you're not going to be doing those every lap, right? Because if you're trying to push to the absolute limit and set PBs every lap, you're going to just roast your tires and use more fuel. So what
You
it's
won't
really
do
about is
those
just
lap times ever again afterwards.
absolutely, no, for sure, right? You do one absolute barnstorm overlap, and then excuse me, you've ruined your tires.
Yep.
I am still just looking at the different kind of testing liveries on the cars, particularly between Colin and Val. I don't actually really know what the difference is. I think one of them is kind of like the mod creators, like, here's our thing that's inspired by the actual one, and then the other is like, here's the actual one. Regardless, they both look cool.
Absolutely.
Not a whole lot happening on track near the end of this race. Things have kind of settled out.
Yeah, I guess I mean we had our really tight battles pretty early on, and I don't know, maybe they got tired of going door to door over and over again and spreading out.
Yeah, maybe they did.
They're in the I just want to make it to the end phase.
Pack of cars on the front straight, but they're all lap cars as Gaglione gets on by. There he goes. I mean, like as I mentioned last week, we're kind of at the stage in the race where it's just happening. People are just lapping. That is the nature of endurance races. Sometimes people just lap. Sometimes there is no on-track battle.
Absolutely, right? Especially towards these closing phases. I mean, your main goal is to just kind of keep it tidy, keep it neat. You know,
A little
sometimes
bit.
it's better to just, you know, try to keep a little bit of a gap to those around you and put in some quick laps and to get it home in one piece.
Philip is still trying to catch up on Doug Newman, just a little bit. Not necessarily enough where we're gonna get a barn burner by the end of the race, but just catching up enough to make it interesting.
Yeah, he's still, I mean, he fell a little bit behind from where he was. He was about 1.5 to 2 seconds, but now he's kind of, I mean, not too far back. He's within 3 seconds now. So, I mean, we'll see how this unfolds. He seems to be on pace with Doug, actually. Um, so we'll see if he can put in a couple quick ones and, you know, close it down and go for that 7th position towards the end.
Yeah, it'll be interesting, especially as Newman starts to catch some what is it, lap traffic? Well, sorry, Joseph Yang's the one catching the lap traffic.
Let's see what's going on with Joseph here. We'll sit in with him. Seems to be catching Randy up ahead. I don't know if Randy sees him in his mirrors. He's probably just going to let him by.
He probably does. Randy's generally a nice guy, but Randy's also entitled to his own line, so you know
Absolutely.
he doesn't have to.
Yep, so Randy keeping it tidy on the inside. Joseph is going to have to go the long way around, as we said that Randy is entitled to hold that line.
Joseph probably going to try the inside here. Going to get on by.
Makes it past, and Randy lets him by, so Joseph now clearing that lap traffic.
He did lose a little bit of time to Newman, but not a crazy amount.
Not too bad. He does have a little bit of clean room now in front of him to try to, you know, put down some good times now that he's through traffic, so we'll see if he can make an impression up ahead.
100%. See, well, he's gonna catch Randy on the straight, which is a pretty good time because you can just kind of go around.
Absolutely, and he's gonna have the draft advantage as well.
Maybe not. I don't think he's close enough.
No, not quite. You know, we've really only seen the draft really comes to its own when you're within a second of the car in front, especially once you get within, you know, about half a second, a quarter of a second, then all bets are off, right? Especially we've seen, I'm guessing about 0.3 seconds. As soon as you hit that mark, you basically just sail past. So it's very interesting how the draft works, especially as you get further down the straight. You're carrying more speed. That's where the downforce, you know, that big rear wing that we're looking at, starts to have more of an effect the higher your speed is. So
100%. Doug Newman just did another personal best that last lap, so he is gaining on Joseph. This will be interesting.
Absolutely, seems to have closed it down now to a second and a half. Yeah, so another Fuji fun fact. I mean, we've been
Yep.
talking about how much the track has changed over the years. Fuji's actually had 5 full-size configurations in
It's
its
true.
life since 1965 when it opened. The original circuit was 6 kilometers long with 15 turns. Then the second configuration, that was 1974 to 84. The scary one only had 8 turns. So yeah,
Yup.
definitely just a big old fast track with a bunch of sweepers.
Yep.
Third
Yeah, it was
configuration,
not.
yep. Third
I was,
configuration,
yeah, scary.
85 to 92, increased to 10 turns. Fourth configuration, 93 to 2004, 12 turns. We're seeing a trend here, turns starting to go up again. And now the fifth configuration that we're driving on currently, which is the 2005 layout, 16 turns. So one more turn than the original circuit layout in 65. But yeah, no, it's very interesting how the layout has changed over the years. Because if you look at the, if you ever look at the original Fuji map and just to take a gander at it, it looks completely different to what it looks like today.
100%. Well, the main thing with the 90s and I believe the early 2000s one, especially the 80s and 90s one, was it was really fast. So to curb that, I mean, the entirety of Sector 3 was one really long sweeper that you took flat out onto the front straight, which was just as long, into Turn 1. And that was obviously not safe. So what they did to curb that was put like one chicane in before the sweeper, but they still kept the sweeper, so you were still going way too fast.
For sure. Hey, another
You can see why
funny
they reprofiled it.
a funny Fuji Speedway fact that I actually just came across right now. So, uh, Fuji Speedway Corporation, which is the company that owns the track, was established in 1963. It was originally established as the Japan NASCAR Corporation.
That
So,
is true, actually.
the circuit was actually originally planned to hold NASCAR-style races. So it was supposed to be a 2.5-mile oval, high bank super speedway a la Daytona and Talladega. And what happened was there wasn't enough money to complete the project, so only one of the banked turns was ever built, and that banked corner was actually incorporated into the original design of the road course that was prevalent from 1965 to 1973.
Yeah, that's true. It was honestly it was weird. It was a weird time. Who knows what stock car racing would have looked like if it had actually taken off? Because they've tried to expand to other countries. The only one where it even remotely caught on was Australia.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, they have Euro NASCAR now, and then obviously they have the Pinty Series in Canada and the Peak Series in Mexico. But maybe that's just kind of one of those things where it's just more economic to do it in the United States.
Yep, I mean, you
And
have
we have 5 minutes left.
5 minutes left, and it looks like that battle between Doug Noonan and Joseph Yang might start to heat up now. Doug is really closing that gap down just within 2 seconds now, closer to 1.5 actually. So this might be the one to watch as the race comes to a close.
100%. It'll definitely be interesting. I'm gonna follow them around the speedway. See how it heats up. They're both driving great.
Yeah, I mean the drivers overall over this race have kept it very clean. We've seen some awesome moves, some awesome passes, and not too much in the way of incidences. Drivers have been fairly respectful of each other's space on track. So it's been a good one to watch.
100%. We got two cars. What are they? Oh, it's lap car. Never mind. I thought there was a battle that I was missing.
Fair
I am
enough.
noticing now. Doug Newman is really starting to reel Joseph Yang in. This will be interesting.
Absolutely.
They'll probably get, if I had to guess, 2, maybe 3 more laps.
Looks like that's what it's going to be. Joseph actually moving way off from the inside there to try to break the draft and then moving back out on the outside again. Doug now within a second. Let's see how he fares through turn one. Seems to have a decent exit now within a second. So we'll see. I mean, hey, this might be his lap. Maybe he'll be able to get it done. And if not, very soon, because, I mean, he's on pace to be a real threat for Joseph here.
Yeah, it really is. Like, he just has to kind of get. Fuji's a weird track where he doesn't have to get there. He just kind of has to get within that half a second, and then the draft should be able to help him.
For sure,
but he's
getting
got to
a
get
good exit there.
He's got to get that half second before they get to the straightaway.
All right, let's see what happens now as they approach Dunlop here. Hard on
Leader
the brakes.
Leader on track is Gaglione is currently going through 100R, just for reference, so we'll know that when he gets to the line, he will probably get one more lap, maybe two.
Absolutely. I mean, given that the lap times are around the 148, 147 mark, this may be the second to last lap that we're watching right now. Doug getting a really good exit into Panasonic here. Let's see if he tries that little over-under. Little squirrely on the exit, but has he done enough?
Oh, that's going to really hurt his exit speed.
Joseph really trying to break that draft, but Doug sticking close behind. Now within a half second, just about.
That's pretty much where he has to be at.
Yeah, so I mean, Joseph's weaving fairly aggressive, but I actually think that's costing him time because he's having to travel, a much further distance.
Doug's getting there.
Ooh, seems to get a good exit.
Gaglione is at pit exit right now, coming down the front straight. So this will be the last lap when Newman and Joseph get to the line. This will be the last lap.
Out of Coca-Cola there. Going down 100R. Is Doug gonna try the inside? No, he's gonna play it safe.
Ooh, he's close enough where he can make it work.
See what happens into Dunlop. We've been seeing a lot of drivers being able to kind of close it in quite a bit into this corner. Gets real close, little squirrely through the second part of the Dunlop chicane there. Ooh, it's tight. It's really tight.
There's the crossover. Got a better run, maybe to the inside to compromise his exit, maybe. He'll focus on his own line.
Focus on that exit there. Seems, ooh, good exit. He's within that magical 0.3 seconds that we were talking about earlier. And I think he's gonna be able to cross him here. I think he's gonna be able to get past. Now, it depends. Is Joseph gonna make him go the long way around?
Here's the key. He'll probably get by here. They are on the last lap.
Hard on the brake.
Coming out
Joseph holding the inside. Does he go deep? A little
Doug
too
with
deep.
the crossover.
Doug crossing underneath. And there it is, 6th place for Doug Newman. Now, let's see if he can hold on to it, or Joseph's obviously going to be putting up the fight now to get that position back, especially on the last lap.
Gaglione will cross the line to be your winner, but the race is not over yet.
Absolutely.
Joseph Yang and Doug
a dominant
Newman.
win. Joseph Yang still following close behind here. Going inside there, but has to get on the brakes a little bit towards that exit to not end up in the back of Joseph there. I believe Val's going to be crossing the line shortly as well. Val coming home in 2nd place. Yeah, these two are all over each other.
See how it goes. Here's the important part. If Joseph Yang can get close enough out of that last corner, he can draft past him.
Absolutely, and then the key is going to be, hey, can he get past before that finish line?
Yeah. The block will be really important. As long as he's not too egregious with it, it should be okay. Joseph Yang, cutting way to the inside. That's not going to be good for the
That's
run.
gonna cost him his exit for sure.
Doug slides it a little bit. Oh, I think Doug got the much better exit there.
For sure. And they cross the line just about, and it looks like Doug will be able to hold on for that 6th place.
In a good battle to the end, Doug Newman is going to finish in 5th. Joseph Yang coming second. Sorry, 2nd, 6th. Wasn't that far ahead.
Absolutely.
And the celebratory sliding into turn 1 has already begun as they pile in.
Looks like our last guy to cross the line is Randy here. Randy crossed the line at 14th. So let's get a quick rundown of the finishers.
Matt Gaglione will be your race winner. Val coming home a respectable 2nd. Colin coming home a respectable 3rd. Thomas coming in 4th. Nate Hodgins in 5th. Doug Newman in 6th. Joseph Yang 7th. Philip J. Oliveira in 8th. Bruno's in 9th. Eric's in 10th. Edgar Lee 11th. Laszlo Toth in 12th. Ujbal's in 13th. Randy in 14th. Anthony 15th. Walter's going to be 16th. Matt Alexander in 17th. Chen is in 18th. Dimitri, the best there ever was to do it, in 19th. Colin in 20th. Leo going to be running 21st. And Mr. Lee in 22nd. That will round off the 3rd event of the season as Val doing donuts on the front straight.
Very, very well executed donuts. With that, let's take a little ad break. Oh, you can see that open diff going there, eh? That little one-wheel peel action. With that, let's take a little ad break, and then we'll come back and talk to some of the drivers. Big thanks to Philip at DriverMod.ca, who has been so instrumental in putting these OTA esports series on. You can check out his website, DriverMod.ca, where he has all of his musings and writings all about going fast for time attack and otherwise. So make sure you check it out, DriverMod.ca. If you want to support the folks that put on the series, make sure you go to OntarioTimeAttack.ca, click on the shop icon, and you'll see there is a brand new OTA e-racing t-shirt. It's awesome blue shirt. We got a little steering wheel on there, cars zooming by, and all the folks that support our series. So make sure you check it out, OntarioTimeAttack.ca, and make sure to click on shop. Thanks. All right, and we are back with our race winner, Michael Gaglione. Great race, my friend. That was just dominant from start to finish. You just really walked away with it. It was awesome to watch.
I appreciate it. This goes out to everybody else running a G27 in a folding camping chair, because that's what I'm using.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah, low budget representing right
Yeah. And I'm playing at a desk that's absolutely older than me. So, yeah.
I had a G27 and then a G25 before that. Up until February of this year, I had the same setup for 13 years, so I know all about that low budget G27 life. That's good. That's a salt of the earth stuff right there.
It's great. Yeah.
Surprised they still end up kicking, to be honest. Like most of them are like dead by now.
You seem to have a pretty good car today. Was it did the pit strategy? How did you work out the pit strategy? Were you kind of talking with other drivers, or were you kind of just make the call yourself?
So I don't know if you guys checked the server, but I had some free time this week, and I put in 300 laps on the test or on the practice server. or like when the server was up. So I actually just ran a full race stint and ran the tires out to know what they were going to do. So I strategized around that. I mean, the tires, as you saw, Val put his fastest lap in near the end of the race. They were good all the way up until they turned yellow. So they were good for pace all the way through. So I just ran exactly like down the middle. I did, I think, 74 liters in the first and then like 72 in the pit, just because I wanted to have as much pace as possible and be as light as possible.
It certainly paid off. You had real good running and a pretty dominant win. Were you a big fan of the track car combo? Was it working? Was it working good?
Dude, I love Fuji. I learned Fuji maybe a few weeks ago when we were at the DriverMod Sunday endurance race, and unfortunately, so my best friend Jackson, he was having technical issues, so didn't race. But he kind of taught me Fuji a few weeks ago, and I just fell in love with it. So it was honestly pretty easy for me to put in all those laps this week because I really love this track. It's kind of like magic. Sometimes you just like there's so many different lines to the point where I even learned something on Sunday night and changed my lineup for this race after like 250 laps. So I love Fuji.
Yeah, I mean, we saw that throughout the race, right? Especially when drivers were battling for position, right? There's so many different lines that you can take into a corner. Sometimes you park it in on the apex and try to use that to your advantage, even if it compromises your exit a little bit. Or hey, maybe you run wide on your entry and then you absolutely nail the exit, and that'll get that position right back. So it's so funny how there's so many different ways to approach it, and that really I don't know. It's like a game of 3D chess where you're just trying to figure out the best way around the track on any given lap. And I guess that's the reason why Fuji's pretty hard to be consistent lap over lap as well. But it didn't seem to be a problem for you. I'm sure the Super was a sweetheart as well. You were saying just on the ad break there.
Yeah, I did enjoy the Super. I know a lot of people had their qualms with it, but it taught me a lot about throttle control this week because you just got to be very, very patient. For whatever reason, I don't think the real car has a closed or an open diff, but this version in the game does. So people were losing tons of time on the exit of corners, and I had just kind of figured out the line for this car where I could get the best acceleration. I mean, you just had to be so patient with the throttle. I mean, being 75% throttle out of a corner was much faster than just hammering it and sliding the car a little because you just lose all your time.
Oh, absolutely. No, it was an awesome race, man. You did an excellent job, and obviously, I'm hoping you're excited for next week. It's gonna be Le Mans with the
I'm
911.
stoked. Yeah, I'm stoked. I love 911. So hopefully I'll get some more practice in this coming week and be a threat again.
Absolutely. Hey, maybe you can get another win. We'll see what happens.
Fingers crossed.
Absolutely. Thank you, Michael. Really appreciate it.
No problem. Thanks, guys.
Have a good one. Let's who should we try and ring up next? We want to try and maybe get Doug in here.
Let's get Doug in here.
Yeah, Doug and Joseph.
Yeah,
as
let's get
well.
both of them. That'll be very interesting to talk to them because I mean they were battling, right into the last lap. So we'll see what happened with both those guys, and very very exciting to watch.
And we have Doug Newman here, the center of the really good finish we saw for fifth. Doug, how was your race today?
It was up and down for sure. This car is very difficult to drive with that open diff, and the track is even more punishing than you might expect. You just really get punished if you kind of screw up a corner down a straight or anything like that. So, but yeah, really, really good battle with Joseph. Actually, whole race, kind of at the start of the race, we were battling back and forth, and then after the pitch stops, I kind of gained some pace, picked up on him again, and we had a really, really good fight near the end.
Yeah, you guys definitely had a really good battle. I thought it was going to go to the line, but it went for, I mean, the two corners before the line. It was definitely a really good battle. Did you for strategy, were you kind of just following what the guys in front of you were doing, or did you kind of have a strategy made up from the beginning that you went with?
So I went with full fuel, obviously, at the start. I was expecting to go a little bit further than I did, but the rear tires really started to fall off, and I started noticing that I was consistently about 0.4 a lap down on where I thought I should be. So I actually saw Val and Michael coming up behind me. They're about 6 or 7 seconds behind me, and I just made the decision to pit. And I figured that doing an early pit stop, taking a little bit less fuel, or a little bit more fuel, wouldn't be so bad because I'd have fresh tires and I'd make up the difference. And it actually kind of worked because Philip was actually up the road quite a bit on me before the pit, and then he came out about a second ahead of me after the pit stop. So it worked out really good. And then it was just kind of knocking down laps and putting pressure on.
Yeah, you definitely. No, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Oh, okay. I was just gonna say you definitely put on a pretty good showing today. Was it were you at any point concerned sort of about I guess not necessarily the track limits, but because of how fast a lot of the track is, was there any moments where you kind of almost lost or almost wrote the race off, or was it pretty consistent? Yeah.
No, it was fairly consistent, but like I said before, just like you mess up one corner a little bit, like you don't get the proper exit, and it just punishes you. Because there's so many corners on here where you're slowing right down, and then the next 3 corners you're flat the whole time, right?
Yeah,
So
it's a very fast flowing track, so
yeah,
any mistake into one corner costs you time. It's unforgiving. But I mean, you seem to get the better of Joseph at the end, so it was really awesome to watch. Especially because you were able to gain so much of that gap back after you had a couple of little errors, so you're able to kind of
yeah,
make up the time.
I wasn't really. I didn't think I was going to catch him at any point. I think he was about 7-8 seconds down the road when I came out of the pit and everything kind of neutralized. I thought Philip was going to be my battle, and it was for a bit. And then I don't know. I just kind of found a good groove. But it's funny, kind of midway through the race, Joseph and I were talking about how we're like, he's the yin to my yang, or vice versa. Like we're always fighting each other through these. So it was a good time.
No, it was awesome, and I mean, I hope to see more from both of you. I'm sure it's going to be very interesting next week at Le Mans and throughout the rest of the season.
Yeah. I'm actually hoping I might get my headset replaced, so I'll actually be back in VR and off of a monitor. So I might be a bit more competitive. I don't know, or maybe worse. I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Oh, there's only one way to find out. Good luck.
Yeah.
Good luck. Good race today. Good luck going into next week's race.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. Take care.
Thank you, Doug.
Have a good one. Let's see if we can get Val in here.
And we can get Colin as well. I believe Colin's still in the driver's area as well.
Colin's still in there? Yeah, let's get here. Let's do Val and then we'll do Colin. Do you want to do that?
Sure, let's do it.
Or
let's get both of them. Let's get them chatting because they were
it's a good idea.
very friendly at the start of this race. Yeah, so Josh just went to go get those 2 gentlemen. Yeah, they were very friendly at the start of this race, and for the first 45 minutes really they were just kind of all over each other. So it's gonna be very interesting to hear from them
during the race, and if you're in the driver's chat, there's usually a lot of good banter that goes on there.
Oh, for sure. Hopefully we get a little insight into the fun that they had.
All right, we've got the battle for second and third. Colin and Val are here.
Yo, that was a battle.
That was a battle.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun.
It was nice to have somebody to keep me company.
Yeah.
I honestly don't think I moved the camera off you guys for a good 20 minutes.
Yeah, we figured as much.
Yeah, no, I could tell because people started honking and we started hearing the Dukes of Hazzard horn.
Oh no, did that come through real loud?
Oh, 100%.
Oh no.
I heard it.
I was flashing the lights and trying to distract me and everything.
It was hilarious, I will say that. Yeah,
no,
you guys,
I had him. It was neck and neck for a few laps there.
I would say more than a few.
It really was.
Okay.
In the booth, anyways, it was quite exciting. It was just over under the whole time.
Oh yeah, there's a few places where I take a slightly different line, which gets me to the corner entry a little bit sooner. But he ends up getting a better exit. So there were a few times where he let me have that pass diving up the inside.
Yeah, like there's a lot of places where you're sort of like you can be mid-track, you can be super tight, you can take the short line even though it's slightly slower, but you'll get to the apex first.
Yep, there's a lot of places you can stick a nose in and try to make a pass stick if you're aggressive.
Oh yeah,
for sure.
Absolutely, and it's a real balance, like we were talking about with Doug as well. Of you have to pick your lines wisely because through the slower speed stuff, if you pick let's say a line that will give you a slower exit, it's going to cost you through your through the next sector of the track where it's all just kind of flowing fast corners.
Yeah, at some point, Colin was like, "How come you're not defending?" I was like, "Well, yeah, I should be defending. I should like be going in tighter on entry, and stop letting him just sneak up the inside."
Yeah, that's true. And after you finally made that pass, you could just run away. And later on in the race, you started turning consistent 47s, which was just mind blowing. It was fantastically fast.
Yeah, I unlocked some a tenth or two on a few corners. I thought, oh, I have a chance. My tires are still there. The fuel's burnt off. I have a chance.
Was that the
Yeah.
spare nitrous
And
that
I
was in the
clear
car?
track. What's that?
Was that the spare nitrous that was in the car?
Oh, shh.
Sure.
Oh, you're
50
not supposed to tell him
It was
that.
It was a secret formioli. That's what it was.
Yeah, exactly.
What's
Yeah, I
that?
would have appreciated that DRS button for sure on this race.
Yeah.
Maybe I could have stuck with him after all if I had some of that.
I've
Yeah, I'm
been
glad
asking
the race
every,
was interesting.
I've been asking every driver about their strategy. Did you guys, because you were running in second and third, did you guys take strategies off of each other? Did you work it out ahead of time?
I did the usual thing that I do is I start the race with a full tank, and I assume I'm gonna need tires, and I just see how the fuel burn is. And my dash said add 40 liters, and the tires took slightly longer than fuel. I think everybody's pit stop was about the same because the tires took longer than fuel.
Yeah, probably. From what we saw, it seemed like it was all about the same length.
Yeah, so I just used my extra fuel at the beginning that I took at the beginning to give me a little bit extra tire at the end by taking the first stint a bit longer.
Oh,
Yep,
I'm
I
glad.
did the same.
Same thing, yeah, as I suspected.
Yeah, and just pit right in the middle of the race to have the freshest tires on average for the whole session.
Yeah, I mean, seems to work. If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yep, yep.
You guys looking forward to it? Did you guys like how the car drove?
Not
It
really.
was really, really challenging car for me to drive. There was a lot of push on corner entry, so you really had to make sure that you got it slowed down to the right speed because it was very easy to overdrive the entry. And with the open diff, it was really easy to overdrive on exit as well. So I think
Yeah,
Val
that
was
combined with
much.
like the ridiculously fast steering ratio made corner exits really, really tricky.
Yeah, we saw more than a
Yeah.
couple sideways moments from quite a few drivers, especially some from you, Val. A little, nice little drifting action on
Yeah, because you
corner
don't want to
exit.
let off the pedal.
Yeah,
Did it make the slide recovery like super easy though in the process?
Not really, because like the minute you would counter steer a little bit, because the rack was so fast, you would over input just a hair, and then the minute the weight would come back down on that rear tire, it would just go all weird because all of a sudden that spinning tire has weight on it.
Oh. And
then
it
open
wasn't
diff.
too happy riding some of the curbs. It's a very
Oh, yeah.
stiffly sprung car in general, so it would pick up some of those inside tires and start sliding if you touch the curb the
Yeah.
wrong way.
yeah, we did see more than a few off-road excursions. Using all the track, especially through turn 3 there, that fast left-hand kink. Val, you actually had a really sideways moment going into
Okay.
turn 3 there, just
That-
touching the outside grass. I was
So
I
I
was
had
scared
two
for you.
incidents at that corner. One, I straight up dropped the wheel on entry, and then later in the race, I was like, man, I'd really like a little bit more rotation on entry, and I clicked the bias to the back a bit more, and then went through that corner. Was like, nah, don't want to do that no more. Put it back forward.
Was it that bad?
Yeah, I almost died.
Oh no.
Hey, that's why the races are so long, right? You have time to experiment.
Yeah. Anytime Colin got like a decent gap, it's like, all right, I'll see you in 20 minutes.
Yep.
Well, you guys had a pretty good race. Are you guys looking forward to next week?
Oh, absolutely.
Where are we going next week?
It's
Le
gonna
Mans,
be,
the Porsche 911 GT3R.
and it's
Oh,
at
at
night.
night. Oh boy.
Yeah, I love the
It'll be
Porsche,
fun.
so I will be practicing a lot for this one, and I hope to do well.
I'm excited for the long straights where we can chit chat.
Oh yeah.
That's true. Making me jealous. I'm a big fan of running Le Mans. I wish I was in that race.
Yeah, I haven't done a track or a race at this track yet, so
It's been a long time since I've been to that track.
yeah, it's gonna take a few laps to learn. I think there's quite a lot of track to remember.
Absolutely.
It's actually not too many corners. It's really just a lot of straightaways.
Well, maybe it
But
won't be so hard then.
certainly a lot of yeah. Well, I don't know.
It'll take a
I'm-
lot of time to figure out at least because it's
100%.
Yeah, I mean, if I could give
There's
any
like all
advice,
2
having to
sections on that course.
having to relearn it recently, your lines through the chicanes down the Mulsanne Straight. There's so many, like it's kind of like Fuji where there's different ways to approach it. Those are where you're gonna find quite a bit of time, really trying to maximize your exits because those straight sections are so long after each chicane. And also the latter half of the track with those kind of fast corners after Indianapolis, like those are kind of deceptively tricky as well.
I wonder if it's going to be a game of cuts through the chicanes.
I hope it's not.
I hope it's not as well.
Yeah, well, I mean,
Pretty sure there's like a really dusted up line that you
Don't
can
cut
take
the
there, 'cause
chicane or
it's
I'll
all-
call you out.
I was gonna say
I
that
think-
the bumps on the inside of the chicane are really gnarly. So, I mean,
They are pretty bad. They will kill any hope you had of like a good position if you even think about
Hopefully
touching.
there's a good penalty, I guess, programming in that area. It'd be a shame if it was just like everybody's just yeeting the curbs.
I mean,
that
the
place have a whole bunch of
penalty for
sausages?
the penalty for the chicanes at Lemans is hitting the huge curb airborne. That usually does upset the car quite a bit.
yeah,
I've seen the mod that we're using. I hope it has the big sausage curbs.
Hope so.
I believe it does.
I believe it
Great.
does as well.
Excellent.
I think that's about it. Anything else?
I think I had lots of fun. I'm excited for next week. I hope Mike can, keep us all honest again.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, he worked really hard this week and did a really good job leading this
Yeah.
race.
Did you guys see how many laps he put in on the
Yeah,
server?
he said over 300.
300.
He put in the work and he got the result.
Yep.
He did, yeah. It's a lot of
Yep.
laps. I don't have that.
That is just absolute sheer will.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
This is no other way to describe it. So, hey, you guys are gonna have to start lapping and practicing to keep up with him next week by the looks of it. If he puts in that
I
same
don't want to
effort.
do homework.
I think you're right. Yep,
Dude.
yep.
Yeah, just put in 300 laps at Lemans,
Yes.
and then
All you gotta do is just pull a Battlefield 3. That's all you gotta do.
What?
that's true.
We're still
Yeah,
locked down. You guys have time.
Yeah, I was
Yeah,
gonna say,
that's
like,
true.
Make the kid go away.
Yeah, exactly.
Is there anything else, or is that it? I think that's about it.
I think so.
Yeah, that's it. I had a great time. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks
No
for
problem.
the organizers.
Absolutely.
Yes, thanks to DriverMod.ca and to Ontario Time Attack, all of our sponsors.
Yep, hip. And yeah,
Where do we get that shirt?
yeah, make sure you get that shirt. I know I've been running that ad.
Buy the shirt.
But
Buy
make
the
sure you
shirt.
buy that shirt.
Buy the shirt.
Buy the shirt.
It's a
OntarioTimeAttack.ca.
really cool shirt.
Buy the
They're
shirt.
giving it to me for free, so it's even cooler.
Yeah,
they're
we need
not.
a catchy domain.
They're not actually. I have to buy it. But
OTATT.com.
there you go. Remember
Wait, do I
hashtag
have to buy that now?
hashtag buy the OTA shirt. There you go. Everybody tweet hashtag buy the OTA shirt.
Absolutely. Let's do it. All right,
I think-
Colin and Val.
GG.
GG, thank you guys so much.
Yep.
And we hope to see you guys bothering each other next week on track.
Yo, I'm down.
Uh,
Let's do it.
Yeah, hopefully I have something for him by then.
Alrighty, gents.
All right, bye.
Take care.
Go guys. And that's kind of going to wrap up the broadcast here. I think that's pretty much everything.
Absolutely. So from myself, Jordan Mazzugli, from Josh Cronin and Imani
Al.
Mapalud, we want to thank each and every one of you from tuning in. And we hope to see you next week.
Have a good one.